Part 27. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Buletin 11 Huan Tiu Lan. Chapter 264. Snapped. The sound of palms clapping. Kasidagarba Bodhisattva, please hurry up and make this bad woman Chi Minjaya old and ugly. Please hurry up and make this bad woman Chi Minjaya old and ugly. Wearing a helmet, Suzu Sakakibara clasped her hands together and prayed devoutly to the Kasidagarba Bodhisattva in the roadside shrine. As she spoke, she put the croquette she was reluctant to eat with one bite left on it on the altar without any incense. Go. You want me to grow old and ugly? Tian Haikiming, who was sitting on her sister's motorcycle, was only curious about this. Sister-in-law, are you going to offer the food you have eaten to the Bodhisattva? What do you know? This is my favorite potato croquette. Sakakibara Suzu looked at the moss-covered Jizo stone statue again with pious eyes. Kasidagarba Bodhisattva is famous for his compassion for the suffering people, will definitely respond to my wish. After all, I am the one who has been tortured by foxes. Tian Haikiming shook her head and said, Kasidagarba Bodhisattva will only think that my sister Chan was blinded by anger. What do you know? Sakakihara Suzu retorted. Tian Haikiming shook her head again, took off the gold-rimmed glasses on the bridge of her nose, and slowly wiped them with a wet tissue. It is said in Kasidagarba Bodhisattva's original vow sutra that with one look and one salute, this person will make hundreds of. He was born on the 33rd day of the cycle and will never fall into the evil realm. He also said that if someone does not do good deeds and keeps doing evil, does not believe in cause and effect, speaks lewd words, speaks evil words, and slanders the Mahayana, he will surely fall into the evil realm. Tian Haikiming wiped the lenses of her glasses and finished the sentence slowly without missing a word. Finally, she raised her sky-blue eyes. Presumably, such a vicious curse as Sister Chan will definitely reap its own consequences. Snort. Sakakibara Suzu knew that she could not defeat Amami Nanamajetsu, she was too outrageous. She knows a little bit about everything, so just don't argue with her, just know that she is a bad woman. Okay, you two have just finished breakfast, okay. Can't you be more harmonious? Brother, why don't you speak for me? She bullied me, okay. Sakakibara Suzu pointed at Amami Kiming, who slowly wiped her glasses. After she made sure they were spotless, she held her glasses and hung them on the bridge of her nose. The light from the lens reflected the image of Suzu Sakakibara standing in front of the Kasidagarba Bodhisattva statue. Tian Haikiming closed her eyes and said calmly, I don't know who pulled my hair out yesterday. Then I don't know who kissed me. Sakakihara Suzu hesitated, and finally swallowed the word brother. What am I? You don't have to worry about it. Obviously it was Sister Chan who gave me the opportunity, and it was obviously Sister Chan who failed to live up to her expectations. What a hateful Kiming. Sakakihara Suzu was so angry that her teeth itched. Okay, stop arguing. After eating the breakfast he bought from the county town, Sakakibara threw the bag in his hand into the trash can next to the bus in this rural village, clapped his hands, and looked at the Fuji mountains shrouded in blue clouds on the right. We will continue to set off after resting. Today we have to get to Osaka Prefecture in the afternoon. You just arrived in Osaka today. Didn't you say you'd arrive in Kyoto in 2 days? You didn't even look at what we did on the road. We were either resting or taking pictures during our breaks. Of course it's not fast to stop and go, Sakakibara said, and if we drive a little further, we still have to leave a few spots at the foot of Mount Fuji. A shadow, otherwise it would be a pity if we were just passing by the scenery at the foot of the mountain. The MV is about a group of teenagers and girls facing their own troubles, and then awakening their love and passion for life through travel. In the end, when several people meet at the same time, there will definitely be emotions about frustration and loneliness in the middle. This requires the use of some lens language to express it. What Sakakihara wanted was to have Juri ride alone on the road and shoot from a high place. The cool foggy morning, the spacious highway, the girl riding alone and gradually disappearing from the camera. This is probably the feeling of loneliness of traveling far away. After some discussion, Tianhai Kaimingyu thought that it would be more concise and powerful to express it with just a backshot of staring at several other people. Anyway, the overall song is an upward mood, and then it would be better to show the harmonious feeling of several people traveling together. Then take a copy of each and see the results later. After bowing to Kesadagarba Bodhisattva on the roadside, the group drove for 10 minutes to find a downhill section with a suitable length and height. There are green mountains here, and there is the huge Fuji mountain range on the right. Looking upwards, you can see the clear snow tops. Standing on the high uphill road, Sakakihara asked Nanami to drive Aling's ordinary-looking scooter, and personally used a camera to capture her drifting away in the village. The finished film looks pretty good. Surrounded by farmhouses and green fields, the road is lined with telegraph poles. Against the backdrop of the huge Mount Fuji surrounded by clouds and mist on the right, Tianhai Kaimingyu is driving a motorcycle alone, leaving the village and the campus looking particularly lonely and small. Chi Minjiao is perfect for this role. Even Sakakibara Raku himself could see the emotions belonging to Amami Nanamijetsu from this picture. Everyone in the school regarded her as the eldest lady of the Tianhai family, and they all spoke to her with a bit of respect and fear. Chi Minjiao likes to close herself off. Growing up, few people would take the initiative to approach and understand her, right? She would not take the initiative to approach people like Li Yulai, which caused her to become more and more withdrawn and use more thorns to protect herself. Sakakibara couldn't help but ask Amami Kuruori next to him. Chi Minjiao, she has actually never shown her naughty side to strangers. That's right. Tianhai Juli Yulai didn't know why he suddenly asked, but he still answered seriously. Sure enough. If you weren't close to Chi Minjiao, she wouldn't bother teasing you at all. She will only use her eyes to tell you to get out of here. She doesn't like talking to strangers. Sakakihara Raku was also exposed to this kind of July, when he was competing in the Kyoto tournament. Even he himself felt that only a fool like him would shamelessly approach Chi Minjiao again and again. Not wanting her to be unhappy, he even shouted in front of the subway station that he was a fool. Raku Sakakibara feels stupid just thinking about it now. But it was also because of her stupidity that it reminded her of things from her childhood. Did Li Yulai recognize me a long time ago? No, I didn't start to doubt it until she took your brother to take wedding photos in July. Is it? Brother, do you think Chi Minjiao is lonely? Amami Kuruori stared at Sakakibara Raku's side face, thinking to herself, and suddenly grabbed his hand. She didn't want her brother to pay too much attention to Chi Minjiao's inner loneliness. It's okay, brother, Chi Minjiao will find his own happiness in the future. Ruri's words and handshake simultaneously expressed to Sakakibara her various emotions and hints at the moment. She was worried, and at the same time, she expressed the meaning of Lejun, you are the only one in my heart through this tight handshake. Don't worry. Sakakibara responded to her handshake and smiled at her to reassure her. In fact, no matter whether they are 7 or 9, they will always care about themselves, but they express it in different ways. During the camping barbecue yesterday, Li Yulai baked something for him to eat alone. When bringing something to herself, she was afraid that she would burn it, so she gently blew the barbecue with her mouth until it was cool enough to be swallowed before bringing it to herself. Not to mention the detail that Li Yulai folded her clothes before setting off and brought an extra coat for herself to avoid being cold. 7 bright moons. Chi Minjiao secretly paid too much. She helps him all the time. Every time he asks her for help, she refuses to help him, but in fact, he helps him secretly. Not to mention that she is still secretly paving the way for herself to smoothly take over the Tianhai family after graduating from college. They are all good girls. So no one can give up. Sakakihara Raku squeezed Amami Kuruuri's hand again. Asterisk. After everyone finished taking pictures, they continued to set off. Because of the barbecue and camping event last night, the originally harmonious relationship between the few people became a little more subtle. Just like Aling and Chi Minjio, they would always quarrel with each other. Sakakibara Suzu would often increase the speed of the car to be as fast as Sakakibara Raku, and then sit alone behind him. Nanami Mingzuki, who hugged Sakakibara Raku's waist tightly, made a face and laughed at her for being a coward. She was even scared to sit in a car. Chi Minjio didn't want to pay attention to her. And Juliuli, she started to wonder whether Chi Minjio would take advantage of her boyfriend like she did last night. Sakakibara Raku felt extremely comfortable. Not to mention the exhilarating feeling of riding a motorcycle, the backseat cushion of his motorcycle had to slide towards her back when she was driving in July. In addition, she was a little afraid of this kind of speed, so she hugged her very tightly. When he thought that the usually cold and arrogant little Kyo had become as dependent on himself as a little girl, he couldn't help but open up the accelerator a lot. Cool. The wind howled and he shouted loudly. Brother, brother, brother. What's wrong? The wind is a bit loud and I can't hear clearly. Speed, slow down. What? I can't hear it. Sakakihara Raku couldn't hear it, the roar of the engine was quite loud. Slow down. Drive slower. Huh? Drive faster. Okay, I'll break the limit for you. Raku Sakakibara put the motorcycle into 6th gear and pulled the accelerator to the highest position. In the sight of Suzu Sakakibara from behind, his brother took Nanamayu and ran out with a blast of the accelerator. Amami Nanami wanted to sigh, but she didn't have time to sigh. She could only hold Sakakibara Raku's waist tightly while blowing her hair. How's it going? It's so refreshing, Raku Sakakihara shouted excitedly towards the back seat, hugging his little wife tightly. Tianhai Kaimingyu, who was so blown by the strong wind that she didn't dare to open her eyes at all, didn't want to talk, not at all. He is driving, so he must not twist the flesh on his waist. The girl just wrote down this account silently in her heart. Won't Zayaju catch up? Ellie ran away with Zyoki. Little sister, hold on tight, let's catch up. Upon hearing this, Tianhai Juliuli, who was driving smoothly, also increased the accelerator, shifted into 6th gear and drove off. Tianhai's Higsu behind her also listened to her words and hugged her waist tightly. Only Sakakihara Suzu, who couldn't run fast, was angry. You guys are bullying me and my car is not as good as yours, right? It's so abominable. After racing for a while, Sakakibara Raku and Amami Kuruuri seemed to be in a particularly comfortable mood. Amami Nanami's face was livid. Finally, Sakakibara Suzu came and looked depressed. Only Amami Yuki still remembered that it was time to eat. Raku Sakakibara looked at the location on his phone and said, let's just walk a little longer. Let's drive faster this time. We will arrive in Osaka City before 1:30 in the afternoon to eat okonomiyaki. Oh! Okonomiyaki. While we are still at the foot of Mount Fuji, how about we take a group photo of the 5 of us? No one has any opinions about the group photo, but everyone has their own ideas about the location of the photo. Sakakihara wanted Kiju to stand on both sides of him, while Zyoki and Isuzu were squatting in front. But Aling was unwilling and said, no, doesn't that mean I'm a head shorter than Chi Minjio? I want to change. Several people argued for a while, and finally Sakakihara had to squat down in front of the 4 girls. Chi and Ju were holding hands in the middle, with Zhigzhu and Aling beside them. 3 motorcycles lined up behind a few people, and right behind them were rural farmhouses and the tall Mount Fuji. Raku Sakakihara looked at the 4 girls with different expressions and unique beauty in the camera, and laughed. Okay, I'll set a timer, don't move. Setting the set camera to count down for 15 seconds, Sakakibara hurriedly ran towards the girls, trying to squat down in front of them. Just when the camera sent a countdown flash and Raku Sakakihara was about to run, the expressionless Amami Nanami suddenly kicked a round stone from his feet that he had prepared in advance. The stone rolled right in front of Sakakibara Raku, who had just arrived. As soon as he stepped on it, his body fell forward and hit Tian Haikaimingu. After a few seconds, there was just a click. The camera captured it. Raku Sakakibara's face bumped into Amami Nanamijetsu's arms. Amami Kuruori covered her mouth and frowned. Sakakibara Suzu clenched her fists and became angry, and Amami Nazuki's small face was puzzled by such a harmonious photo of 5 people at the foot of Mount Fuji. Asterisk. Osaka. Located in the Kansai region of Japan. As a major Japanese city second only to Tokyo in terms of prosperity, Osaka's glory has not been overshadowed by its neighboring Kyoto and Nara. Kansai cuisine is even more famous in Kanto. At 1:20 in the afternoon, we entered the city 10 minutes early. We didn't stop at useless places and drove to the first stop in Osaka for the 5 of us, the Dotonbori Food Street. We found a parking lot to park our motorcycles, and then went to a chain store to rent camping equipment for a day. As soon as they passed the subway entrance, they felt the bustling commercial street. It was a sudden enlightenment. A dazzling array of products and food are displayed in shops on both sides of the street. Apart from the dazzling LED electronic signs at game stores, drugstores, coffee shops, and various snack bars, the most eye-catching thing is the huge signs above the food court stores. The giant red crab of Kandaraku, the giant red octopus of Dotonbori Takoyaki, and the giant dumplings of Osaka Oisho. There is also an iron bull hanging above the store sign, an anime character eating tempura, and a big red flag with white letters fluttering in the wind. And when you come to Osaka Prefecture, everyone can see the large billboard with the image of the Glico running man running with his hands raised. All store signs have big characters, big colors, and big decorations. In short, it is big. This is Osaka. This was the first time Sakakibara Raku came to Osaka Prefecture at this age. In the past, except for returning to his hometown, he rarely left Tokyo. Naturally, so does Sakakihara Suzu. Crab dole. Crab dole. As soon as Sakakihara Suzu came here, she shouted excitedly. She was always looking forward to going to a store. Raku Sakakihara looked up at the large advertising screen above his head. He and his younger sisters were in the neighborhood where people were coming and going. It truly felt like a refreshing trip. The screens on the buildings overhead were broadcasting busy advertisements in turn, and people on the pedestrian streets were in groups. Unlike the inexplicable silence of the crowds in Tokyo, Sakakibara could clearly hear a lot of exchanges between passers-by and couples holding hands. The joking sounds and the joking laughter among the companions. Apart from these young people with smiling faces, there are also many foreigners with cameras who are traveling here to take pictures, and many group tourists who follow the little red flag tour guide and look left and right with strange eyes. This allows people to truly feel the warm atmosphere of Osaka Castle, which has a sense of the times and modernity, and the orderliness in chaos. This is a completely different kind of bustle from the international metropolis of Tokyo. This is what traveling feels like. Sakakihara looked at it in a comfortable mood, but suddenly his expression froze. Grass. As for why he suddenly said a long-lost hometown dialect in his heart. That's because he saw Mr. Tianhai. In the center of the busy city, above a Starbucks, Raku Sakakibara saw the Tiankai Life pharmaceutical flashing on a screen more than 10 meters wide. Sakakihara read the content carefully. It seemed to be promoting a new analgesic. The content was based on a man in a suit who was tired from work. After taking the medicine, a golden light surrounded him. The man was bitter. His face smiled, his waist straightened, his chest straightened out, and he came back full of energy. Then the golden light turned into a big alpha letter behind his back. Finally, the man smiled and held up a medicine, and the screen also showed the name of the medicine, alitamine X+. Suitable for tired eyes, shoulders, and waist. Now on the shelves of major pharmacies and so on. When the narrator read out the name of the medicine, Sakakibara almost laughed. X+. Luli, Luli, I saw Grandpa. Ah. Where is Grandpa? Billboard. Raku Sakakihara held back his laughter and pointed at it, while the screen continued to cycle back and forth, but the old man only made a cameo in the last scene. So that's it, brother, what are you laughing at? Tianhaijuli Yulai asked doubtfully. Are our commercials so funny? Advertising, isn't it always like this? Brother, you must be ignorant. Suzu Sakakibara walked over, like a big goose who just walked into the village. Humph, I have noticed the advertisement of Tianhai family a long time ago is super weird. How weird is that? Wait a minute, I'll use my phone to look for you. This is it. Let me see. As a result, Sakakibara couldn't hold back. A great magician? You also use magic to rain down potions. Are they also divided into levels and attributes? 3 colors, X, FX, and NX. Tianhai Kaimingyu interjected from the side. FX is for fever and chills, X is for sore throat and runny nose, and NX is for nasal congestion and runny nose. They just have different ingredients, not different levels. It seems that Chi Minjia has more experience. Tianhai's Higsu also saw the advertisement, but she was not interested and just told everyone that it was time to eat. It's indeed time to eat, so what should we eat? Kani Daraku. Kani Daraku. The most famous store in Dotonbori, Osaka. Suzu Sakakibara raised her right hand and said. Tianhai Kaimingyu said politely, if you come to Osaka at this time, don't even think about eating crab daraku. You will have to queue for at least an hour. Is Sister Chan willing to queue for an hour to buy it for us? What? Why should I go? Why not you, Chi Minjia? After all, it's my Sister Chan who's calling me to eat, not me. Nana Mingzuki, Sakakibara Suzu puffed up her face again, you have to talk back to me for everything I say, right? I'm just being honest, and I don't know if they cursed me to grow old and ugly not long ago. It's a pity, I'm much prettier than you, my Sister Chan. Come, vindictive little Kyo. Big-breasted woman. Big-breasted fox. Aren't your breasts just a little bigger than mine? Is it bigger? You. But big breasts are nothing special. Big breasts are stupid. Women with big breasts are the stupidest. After saying this, Sakakibara Suzu glared at Sakakibara Raku. Why are you staring at me? Humph, you like big breasts, you are guilty too. Raku Sakakihara smiled back at his sister who had a bulging face. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Bulletin 11 Huan Tio Yu Lan. Chapter 265. Kani Daraku. Kando Raku. Takoyaki. Takoyaki. Okonomiyaki. Okonomiyaki. Sakakihara Suzu, who was still a little angry just now, felt as if she had entered heaven as soon as she entered the center of the food court. She raised her hands in the air and almost jumped up from the ground happily. The surrounding snack and food shops are full of bright red decorations, and the street is filled with the aroma of food. Sakakibara was happy to see his sister so happy, and she took the initiative and enthusiastically led him to walk through the streets of the crowded food court. He then smiled and led everyone to follow her. Brother. Eat that? Osaka's takoyaki. Purchase. Original fried skewers. Tempura. Purchase. Beef roasted. Kuraman roasted fish. And tornado potatoes. Buy. But Aling, we have to calm down first. You see, your brother can hardly hold it anymore. After visiting the snack street, several people finally chose crab dole to sit down. After all, we can't just have snacks for lunch. After spending an hour queuing up, the various snacks Aling bought have been shared by everyone. Those things can definitely be enough for one person, but can barely be enough for 5 people. What's more, there are 2 delicious mouths, Aling and Ji Shui. After waiting in the waiting area for the seating information, Sakakibara waved his hand immediately after entering Kanado Raku, and everyone was given a top-quality crab meat set meal priced at 11,000 yen. As for how to eat it? That has everything. Grilled crab, fried crab, steamed crab, boiled crab, crab hot pot, crab sashimi, crab meat rice, cheese-baked crab, crab meat egg custard. Scooping out a spoonful of crab meat from the red-hot crab legs, Raku Sakakibara couldn't help but laugh when he saw the 2 foodies opposite, Suzu and Yuki, eating their mouths full of crab meat fibers. Eat slowly, okay. What? I ate 2 pieces of croquettes all morning today, and I haven't finished it yet. At noon, you said you'd wait until we got to Osaka to eat again. You'd starve to death, okay. Didn't you buy some snacks while shopping? That's not enough. My sister and everyone had such a great time eating, and the atmosphere and lighting in the store also made the atmosphere lively and lively. This kind of exhilarating feeling when you are tired from the journey and feel so hungry that your chest sticks to your back and then you go to a restaurant to eat a lot, this is travel. During the meal, Sakakibara Raku didn't forget to put crab meat into Amami Kuriyuri's bowl. She was already full, and she quickly shook her head and waved her hands to say that she couldn't eat any more. Compared to Aling, who doesn't care about her image at all, Li Yulai still has the reserve of a beautiful girl outside. But what does this mean? I ordered a full set meal for everyone. Rurizuo, our table is almost overcrowded with crabs. How can we do it if we don't eat more? Look at the customer next door. He wanted to leave after eating halfway but was stopped by the store. He has to eat before he can go on. As he spoke, he shaved crab meat for her and stuffed it into her bowl. Even though Tianhai Julie Yulai was happy that her brother was taking such good care of her, she still couldn't help but smile bitterly. Of course, Sakakibara Raku didn't forget to feed Amami Nanamajetsu with crab meat, who didn't say anything or looked at him just now, and was just eating silently. Come on, Chi Minjio also comes a little bit. Xiaoqiu is a jealous person. Just now she has been asking Julie Yulai about food and asking questions. She is definitely jealous. As expected, after Sakakibara gave her some food with chopsticks, his foot was stepped on under the table, and then he saw the dull look from Amami Nanamayu. It's plain, but the sky blue eyes staring at her are clearly saying, "Thank you for remembering me." Sakakibara Raku had no choice but to give her more crab meat that he had grilled. Again, Chi and Nin have the same appearance, as well as the same eye color and hair color, so when Sakakibara looks at them, he will inevitably feel that they are jealous of themselves. Alas, if Ruri, Aling and the others were not present, Sakakibara Raku would have chosen to hold the jealous little Kyo and coax her, rub and kiss her. She looked so cute. Come take a photo and keep it as a souvenir. It's your first party lunch in Osaka. Brother, wait a minute, I haven't finished eating the crab legs yet. Then hurry up. After Sakakibara Suzu hurriedly wiped her mouth and smiled at the camera raised by Sakakibara Raku, he pressed the shutter and took a travel photo of the 5 of them having dinner together at Kandaraku. Asterisk. After eating, everyone went to Shinsebashi and took a boat ride in the canal in the center of the shopping street. Then they went to Hosenji Yakusho, where they poured water on the moss-covered statue of the deity and prayed for it. Next, they went to the Umeda Blue Sky building, where they met a shrine with an observatory to pray for the success of love. Although Aling is still cursing Chi Minjio to grow old and ugly quickly. When it comes to the most important place on this trip, we have to mention Osaka's Universal Studios. This place is the only check-in point Tianhai Kaimingyu wants to visit. Why would you want to come here in July? Raku Sakakihara asked her secretly when buying tickets. Nanami didn't answer, and Sakakihara Raku felt that she didn't want to answer. But in fact, there is no need to ask this question at all, because when Sakakihara Rakuzu takes everyone into the first project, you will know it when you see the name. Jaws, Great White Shark. How much do you like sharks in July? I want you to take care of it. Tianhai Yuli was a little worried when she took the admission ticket. I heard that this project is very scary. Suzu Sakakihara waved her hands indifferently. Angzan, isn't it just a scene imitating a movie? We all know it is fake, so there is nothing to be afraid of. 5 minutes later. Ah! Brother! Shark! When everyone got on the tour guide's boat, and under the tour guide's vivid explanation, the shark fins poked their heads out from the water. I know, don't worry, please, my right hand will be torn by you. Sakakibara Suzu screamed along with a bunch of passengers around her. Amami Nanamayu couldn't take his eyes away. Amami Kuruori simply covered her eyes and didn't dare to look. Only Amami Yuki, the 3-no girl, remained expressionless. I have to say that the Universal Studios project has been restored quite beautifully. Shocking sound effects, bitten rotten boats, huge shark fins constantly popping up on the water, heat waves from exploding oil barrels, and a small boat rising and falling on the rough water, making people worried about their own small boat. After flipping into the water, coupled with the tense whispers of the audience and the suspenseful explanations of the tour guide as the plot progressed, the ship entered the dark sewer tunnel where nothing could be seen clearly, and the suppressed atmosphere was pushed to the extreme. Topmost. Even Sakakihara Raku, who has always been bold, looked at the dark water and had a vague feeling that something would suddenly appear and startle you. Brother, this place looks like a horror movie set. It's too dark. The oil drums up there are all rusty. Scared. I didn't. Elder brother. Are Liuli afraid? A little bit. Then, Sakakihara Suzu saw Sakakibara holding Tianhai Jurili's hand, using this gesture that seemed a little intimate but not too intimate to reassure her. Then Tianhai Juli also responded to her with a handshake. The two looked very close and felt like a couple. Sakakihara Suzu was angry, and at the same time she felt unwilling. I was also scared. Shouldn't she take care of me? That position clearly belongs to me. Want me to hug you? Sakakihara asked her with a deliberate smile. No, although Sakakihara Suzu wanted to agree a little bit, she was looked at by Julie. As a self-respecting angel girl, she didn't want to admit it. Moreover, when I went over at this time, wasn't this guy hugging me right and left outside? How embarrassing that is. He also wants to be beautiful. When the great white shark suddenly jumped out of the water and opened its bloody mouth, many tourists were frightened and screamed. There were also some couples whose girlfriends couldn't help but crawl into the arms of their boyfriends. Tianhai Kaimingyu couldn't help but hold on with both hands. Hull of the boat, take a closer look at the sharks that pop up and fall back down. Sakakihara Suzu was abandoned by her brother, and Zhigzhu seemed to be in a daze, so she could only talk to Chi Minjiao. Why do you like sharks so much? When Tianhai Kaimingyu saw that the shark was gone, she sat back. My sister Chan's question is like asking why we were born on Earth. Ah! Can this be the same? Shark is such a cute creature, huh? Don't you think it's cute? Sharks and cuteness can go together. Sakakibara Suzu was shocked. She felt that her worldview was not on the same channel as Chi Minjiao's. Are you kidding me? It seems that Sister Chan and I are not the same person. Nanami sentenced Sakakibara Suzu to death with her eyes. Sakakibara Suzu had to bite the bullet and finally understood that sharks were actually labeled cute in her eyes. What about the dolphins? You think they're cute? It's okay, not as beautiful as a shark. Isn't it true that dolphins are thousands of times cuter than sharks? They're also mammals, they're relatives, and most importantly, they can't eat people. Tian Haikimingyu said calmly, however, dolphins are the most abnormal creatures in the underwater world, not as good as killer whales. How come the dolphin is so perverted? It's so beautiful. I don't want to talk about those things. And Sister Chan doesn't hate me, so why are you talking to me? I am. Do you think I'm better than my sister? Suzu Sakakihara admitted generously, after all, you are very pitiful. You were abandoned by someone. Compared to me, my sister Chan is more pitiful, so I plan to forget about what happened this morning. Say it as if I made you angry. Isn't it Sister Chan who took the initiative to give me the opportunity? So it's actually Sister Chan who is making things difficult for yourself. After Sakakibara Suzu, who was about to refute something, was interrupted by a great white shark that suddenly appeared again. Amamai Nanamai no longer listened to her. Sakakihara Suzu was furious, she should have understood earlier. 7 and 9 are both bad women. Bad fox. Ah. You ask me who I think is the best person to be around. Apart from the old man who usually helps him cook, the only one is Zhigzhu. Zhigzhu is his good friend. They won't fight for their own nests like the big fox and the little fox. Yes, Zhigzhu is the best. After the fruitful global film and television trip, everyone went to the castle tower to watch the sunset and took many group photos. After such a trip, today's trip to Osaka was extremely fulfilling. In the evening, everyone found a hotel to stay in Osaka Castle. The strange thing is that 3 rooms are obviously enough for several people to live in, but everyone has to forcefully open 5 rooms, so each person has to have a room. When he saw several people holding their own room cards, Sakakihara kept thinking, it's over, he's going to be doomed tonight. They all want a room to themselves. What is it for? This shows that these women want to avoid each other and give themselves some private space. If Ling wants to talk to him, Chi Minjia will probably come, let alone Julie Yulai. Because everyone is present, today's trip cannot be regarded as a date at all. Snow. Zhigzhu probably also wants to come find him. So while he was taking a bath and lying in the bathtub, Sakakihara Raku quickly took out his mobile phone and contacted Nanamayu to prevent the occurrence of the ultimate Shura field in advance. He was afraid that they would fight in his room. Sakakibara found the contact information of Nanamai and entered a paragraph in her chat box. Julie Yulai will most likely come to see me tonight, so I can't go to your place. After waiting anxiously for more than 5 minutes, Tian Haikimingyu finally responded to the message. No. Just 2 words in reply. Sakakibara Raku couldn't detect Nanamajetsu's expression through the phone screen, but there was a high probability that he was very unhappy. Sakakibara wanted to ask more questions, but Nanamai Minjia didn't reply to her messages no matter what. It seems that July is really not happy. She knows the most, but now she is the one who is hurt the most. Sakakibara put aside this concern and told Suzu Sakakibara that she was afraid that she was coming to find him. Just go and tell me what you are doing, just don't spend the night. I'm not going to find you, so don't bother me, I'm exhausted today and need to have a good sleep. Finally, there was Yuki, and Yuki Sakakihara Raku also reminded her. She nodded and agreed without any conditions. After doing this series of things, Sakakihara Raku felt physically and mentally exhausted. Why did he feel so tired? At this moment, Tian Haikimingyu suddenly popped up a message. Sakakibara quickly clicked it on his phone. When are you going to tell your sister about our relationship? Let it settle for a while, Sakakibara replied. Late at night, Raku Sakakibara had already put on the pajamas prepared by the hotel and was getting ready to go to bed. As soon as she lay on the bed, she saw the news that Juliuli wanted to come to her room. She said she had something to tell her. It is as expected. Raku Sakakihara opened the door to the room 5 minutes later. Amamai Kuruori stood outside the door. Sakakibara looked at each other with her slightly swaying sky blue eyes. There is no need to elaborate too much on the beauty of the girl, but Raku Sakakihara is still inevitably moved by her current appearance. Sure enough, she is the kind of Miss Amamai who can shine brilliantly in school no matter where she is. Inviting her into his room, Sakakibara poured her a glass of water. Tianhai Juliuli then held the water cup with his little hands and said, "Well, after going through these few days, I actually have something to say to you, Lejun." "Yes, I'm listening," Sakakihara replied patiently. "About the events of the past few days, that is, the events of Zhigsu and Kyo, my brother knows about it. They all like you." "Well, that's clear." Tianhai Juliuli held the water glass in her slender hands, her long flaxen hair falling behind her, and the girl's fragrance wafted faintly from her body. It is of course a very happy thing for Lejun to be liked by everyone. I think there must be something good about Lejun that makes him so attractive to everyone. I also know that Lejun is the kind of person who least blames others and is also the kind of person who takes care of others best. Everyone will have a good time around you. Well, you will also be able to do everything in your daily life. Sometimes this feeling suddenly fades a lot. Sometimes some people may think that Lejun is not that good, but I understand. When I needed help the most, it was Lejun who came to help me. Obviously at that time, Lejun was deceived by me and deceived emotionally by me. For an ordinary person, he should have stayed away from me long ago, right? But Lejun didn't, and he didn't do that completely. When he saw me sad, he still takes the initiative to let me rely on him, to comfort me, and to encourage me to find the things I really like. I will never forget the way that when I cried that day, Lejun was willing to put aside everything before to take care of me and encourage me. Tianhai Juliuli suddenly smiled at him, a little shy, but also full of sunshine and gentleness. "A few days ago, I was able to take the initiative to ask my mother to refuse to participate in the international piano competition. It was all because of the encouragement given to me by Lejun that day. Those two actions that helped me resist my mother. I understand that Lejun must be the kind of person who can stand up at critical moments and become the kind of person who can take on everything." These words silenced Sakakihara Raku. After Tianhai Juliuli said those frank words just now, he suddenly became stammering and squirming. The body sitting on the edge of the bed is also constantly approaching Sakakibara, and the hand tangled in front of him subconsciously wants to touch it. "Well, the real reason why I want to come to Lejun today is because I feel a little unhappy about what happened to Chi Minjiu yesterday and today." Well, although Lejun quickly pushed away Chi Minjiu, the kind of thing that happened to Chi Minjiu by others, the way he approaches and smiles at others, makes me feel very annoying. Because, no matter what, Lejun should be my boyfriend. Sakakihara Raku was still listening carefully to Amamai Kuruori's words, when the hand on his side suddenly felt touched. He looked over and happened to see Tianhai Juliuli's trembling sky blue eyes with a hint of brightness and hesitation. She was looking at herself. It's not that Sakakihara Raku can't understand this kind of mood. If Juruli is talking and laughing with other boys and is particularly happy, he will also feel uncomfortable. Not to mention the action of throwing herself into my arms. After understanding the girl's thoughts in this way, Sakakibara understood more deeply how he felt about being liked by Kuruori. In fact, she has been patiently trying not to ruin her relationship with Kyo. She doesn't want the person she likes that she finally found to be taken away by others, and she doesn't want the person she likes to be touched by others. Her possessiveness also made her feel willing to confide everything to Sakakibara Raku. I am indeed well loved by her. Think about how she cooled down the food before handing it to him during the barbecue. Think about how she patiently helped her pack her luggage and brought more clothes for her when setting out, fearing that she would be cold. Then look at her face. At that time, Sakaki Hararaku felt that her beauty should be even more beautiful. Lee Yulai has always been a character who wants to care about her wife. Afraid of being burned, afraid of being cold, and afraid of being alone. Often when I say come back, I will come to the entrance to welcome myself home and take over my school bag or other tools. Seeing that he didn't respond for a long time, Tianhaijuli Yulai worriedly wondered if her words to him were too abrupt, and she subconsciously wanted to take his hand back even when she held it. Ahem, that one. Sakakibara didn't know how he should express his feelings to her now, but he still grabbed her little hand that wanted to leave with some fear. Tianhaijuli Yulai wanted to patiently show that she was listening to him, and agreed slightly. When she flinched, he took the initiative to grab her hand, which warmed her heart. I probably know what you want to say to me, Lee Yulai. Sakakihara held her warm little hand. Under this atmosphere, when the fragrance wafted from her body, she felt nervous. Phew. Lu Li. I am here. Well, I do like you, Lee Yulai, very much. After all, you are so outstanding and dazzling. Whenever I am busy with something, you are the only one who is willing to help me and never cause me any trouble. In terms of advantages, there are too many, I do like you. What I really want to emphasize is that Lee Yulai, you can stop being so restrained and talk to me. I have said it before, I like you, and let the past things go. She always cares about this, so much so that she is afraid of making me angry in everything she does. As for jealousy, of course I understand. So, it would be better to become more like a girlfriend. After saying this long series of somewhat unreasonable words, Sakakibara didn't know if Ruri could understand this. But in short, say it first and then say it. Does Lejun mean that I should step forward and stop it? Yes, that's the meaning in it. But Li Jun was obviously not wrong. He quickly pushed Chi-Chi away. Then will you be happy to see me fall in Chi-Chi's arms? Tianhaijuli Yulai shook his head seriously. Since you are not happy, then of course your girlfriend should be a little more jealous. This situation is like if you accidentally fall into the arms of another boy, I will go over and pull you away from him, and say to the other person, sorry, this is my girlfriend, and express your identity and position. Sakaki Hararaku spoke seriously, and Amamai Kuriyuri felt shy after hearing his words, sorry, this is my girlfriend. My girlfriend is me, I am his girlfriend. Lejun, do you really say that? Sakakibara thought there was nothing wrong with this, but why was there a hint of disbelief in Julie Yulai's words? That's for sure. Tianhaijuli Yulai was so shy at this time that she was still a little hesitant, but after hearing his words, she couldn't help but feel like she was liked. She took the initiative to gently hug his arm, and slowly moved her head leaning on his shoulder. Sakaki Hararaku will definitely not be as young and shy as the first time he was relied on by a girl, but when she is close to him with such a mood, he can't help but feel his heart beat faster. Because after she leaned against him for a while, she took the initiative to greet him. She grabbed the skirt of his chest with her little hands and pulled. Her eyes slowly climbed up from bottom to his face, with trembling sky blue eyes. Capturing his shadow carefully and shyly. Lu Li. That. Is there anything you want to say? That. Say it. Now, can we go to the bathroom to take a shower together? Then, Sakakihara was happy in his arms and heard Amamai Kururi's whisper buried in his chest. He could no longer see her blushing face due to shyness. By the way, is she hinting at something? You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Bulletin 11 Huan Tiu Lan. Chapter 266. Accepted. To be precise, it was Sakakihara Raku who agreed to Amami Kuruuri's request just now. The main problem with agreeing to her was that Sakakibara didn't know what reason he should use to refuse her. In other words, as an adolescent boy who was shy even holding a girl's hand for a while, he didn't want to refuse the girl's request at all. Well, Sakakihara admitted that no matter how much you think about it, it will eventually come down to that indisputable fact. I just want to take a bath with Julie Yulai. Although the two were usually close enough, Sakakihara Raku also hugged Amami Kuruuri and slept together until dawn without doing anything. But this is indeed the first time for such an intimate contact. Raku Sakakihara stood beside the white porcelain bathtub in the hotel bathroom. He had just opened the hot water valve with his hand, but still maintained a tight grip. Hot water fills the bottom of the bathtub, white mist slowly rises in the bathtub, and the bright heating lamp above the head falls down, making the entire bathroom full of bright water. Sakakibara stared at the water in the bathtub, thinking about the fact that he would take a bath with Liulai later. The thought of sitting on both sides of the bathtub with her inevitably made his heart throb uncontrollably. Thinking of the scene at that time will inadvertently make your heart beat faster, your body temperature rise, and then your chest will start to feel itchy, hot, and restless. This sharpened his five senses and made him so bored that he couldn't help but start looking at the bathroom of this hotel. Bathtubs, showers, wash basins, mirrors, and glass walls. I don't know if this is the norm in good hotels. They must make the glass walls in the bathroom both transparent and opaque. Hazy form. No matter whether you look from the inside to the outside or from the outside to the inside, you can see shadows, which makes it particularly ambiguous. To intentionally heighten the atmosphere. Sakakihara was talking about this, and just when he filled more than half of the water in the bathtub, the glass door of the bathroom was knocked. He turned around and saw a very blushing Tianhai Julie Yulai holding a white bath towel to cover her chest, pushing open the bathroom door and standing at the door. She tied up her long flaxen hair on the back of her head, and there was not a single extra strand of hair on her fair and red face, which made her look much cleaner and neater than usual. Tianhai Julie Yulai noticed that he was looking at her, and looked sideways shyly with a gentle and tender look. She was shy, or hesitant to go in. As if she was afraid to face what was going to happen next, her face looked cute and beautiful. Exposed collarbones, snow-white shoulders, and a thin bath towel wrapped around the body. At first glance, the girl didn't reveal much skin, but the pair of legs pressed together under the bath towel were particularly eye-catching. They were slender and tall, firm yet soft, and her skin was white and pink, making it look extremely bright. If you look closely, you can see that she has her legs close together and has tiny details of her toes gripping the ground. She shyly covered her chest with her hands. However, it happened to be the screen covering action that made the steep slope under her white collarbone go up a notch, and also made the shyness she displayed at the moment exquisite and cute. It is a beautiful piece of art. This look between youthfulness and charm is a wonderful beauty that boys find irresistible. Sakakibara looked at her for a while, then couldn't help but turn his face away, looking at the shy Juliuli with some embarrassment. "Can I go in?" "Ah, well, come in." Tianhai Juliuli mustered up her courage and walked in. The first time she entered the bathroom, she didn't know what she should do, so she just stood there holding her toiletries. During this period, she saw that Sakakibara Raku did not take the initiative to speak to her, and found that he was still wearing daily clothes, so she asked aloud, "Raku-kun, why don't you change your clothes first?" "Well, I was going to change this just now." Sakakihara Raku found that Tianhai Jururi came to the bathroom to face him in a bath towel, and he was already too embarrassed to look at him. "How about you go out first, Ruri?" I'll put on the clothes first, change it or something. You don't have to go out. I can help. Tianhai Yuli lowered her face and hesitated as she spoke in a quieter voice. When she was completely silent, she suddenly raised her head and said in a lower voice than usual, Lejun can just change it here, I'll just turn it over. I'll turn it over first, you can change it yourself first. Then she turned around, facing away from Sakakibara Raku. Is it necessary to be so shy? But knowing that she was hesitant and shy now, Sakakibara Raku didn't pay much attention. In fact, it is not impossible for him to take off his clothes in front of her. After all, boys are not so particular. They just take off their tops or pants to take a shower, not their underwear. Sakakibara took off his shirt as usual and hung the clothes outside the bathroom. By the way, did Liuli just want to help her take off her clothes? Okay. Well, that's okay. Sakakibara Raku no longer knew how to describe the awkward silence in this period. He only knew that when Liuli looked back at him, he glanced back at him several times, with a bit of shyness and curiosity. The look made him very embarrassed. The figure isn't great? Or are you saying you don't like this style? No, Lejun has a very good figure, and at first glance, he looks like the type that girls like very much. He has abdominal muscles, and he looks very healthy. The blushing Tianhai Yuli actually wanted to say the word strong. She felt that her brother's figure should be classified as that of the best boys. When she looked at it, she couldn't help but look twice to see that the lines were clear, but not too sharp and angular. How should I describe it? Probably because the curve of my brother's upper body looks very perfect and soft. And she didn't know why. The more she looked, the more she wanted to look. When she turned her head, she couldn't help but look. In the end, she had to take a sneak peek to satisfy her craving. After Tianhai Yuli realized this, he was extremely ashamed. Really? I think my figure seems a little out of shape because I haven't run much recently. Sakakibara wants to say that he usually prides himself on being thick-skinned, but why can't he be thick-skinned at times like this? Or is it that the girl Liuli's eyes secretly glanced at her figure, which made her feel embarrassed? This is really not the case. Lejun has a really good figure, like the one in the comics. But it's not as exaggerated as in the comics. He just has a normal and handsome figure. Tianhai Julio tried hard to resist the idea of taking another look. Why have I become so strange today? Manga, Raku Sakakibara probably knew what manga she was referring to. Suzu had been reading it frequently for a while. Does Ruri usually read those kinds of shoujo comics? I don't look at this, I just saw it twice from my classmates. After saying this, Tianhai Yuli glanced at him unconsciously. Because of the hot water in the bathtub, the entire bathroom began to become foggy, and the surrounding temperature began to rise. In the eyes of Amami Kuriyuri, Sakakibara Raku's figure became a little more ambiguous because of the light mist, and then he wanted to take a look again, secretly. Every time I look at her, I feel my heartbeat speeding up, and then the burning sensation spreads from my cheeks to my ears, and even my breathing becomes disrupted. No, you really can't do this. Tianhai Yuli kept encouraging herself in her heart not to be rude. Besides, peeking at something like this is not allowed at all. Are you honest enough to say that I want to see it? It's no good, even worse. How can I be so embarrassed? Compared to Amami Kuriyuri, who was still shy in a tangled state, Sakakibara Raku thought he had gotten out of that embarrassing situation. At the same time, he also noticed that Kuriyuri had been glancing at his upper body after turning around. Although he is very disciplined on weekdays, he won't turn Juliuli into a nympho who keeps stealing glances at him, right? He estimated that 80% of it was because of Charm 9. Originally, he said that Charm 9 didn't seem to have any effect, but maybe the so-called Charm 9 was actually blocked by clothes? This takes off the top and pants, so the true appearance of charming 9 begins to really show. The so-called true charm 9 is actually the state of not having any pants left. Sakakihara didn't dare to think about it anymore. He turned his attention back to Liulai. When he turned around, he saw her looking at him, her eyes looking straight. Could it be that she wanted to touch it? That's right, after all, Liulai has always been the kind of outstanding young lady who hardly has anything to talk about with boys of the same age since she was a child. In the past, whether you liked boys or not was a separate matter, let alone things like falling in love and touching boys that could only be done after being intimate. She is very embarrassed now. Why don't you try to invite her? Liulai, do you want to touch it and see? Liulai was in a compound state of shock, shyness, and distraction. She kept staring into Sakakibara Raku's eyes. As soon as he said those words just now, Sakakibara wanted to slap himself. This was too straight. How can anyone directly ask a shy girl if she wants to touch my abs? Don't you know how to be more tactful? Didn't you see that I was feeling embarrassed? See, can it? Amamikuruuri's reply left Sakakihara Raku speechless again. Could it be that it's good to be straight once in a while? It's just a touch on the boy's belly, it's nothing. Then, I'm sorry, Lejun. Contrary to Sakakihara Raku's expectation, Amamikuruuri seemed to be less shy than before. Instead, she walked over generously, held out her hand to herself, and touched it with her slender fingers. The same thing is that Sakakihara Raku can still notice that she touched her carefully, rather than grabbing her suddenly. She first tentatively poked the muscles on her lower abdomen with her index finger. After discovering that they were indeed somewhat hard, she curiously touched the lines around her rectus abdominis, which were warm and hard. First he poked and then touched. Raku Sakakihara is a little shy. Liulai, are you sure this is a shy state? If it's too hard, there may be a risk of peritonitis and abdominal muscle tension. What? Why are you still talking about medical knowledge? Sakakibara couldn't hold himself any longer. He deliberately stretched his abdominal muscles so hard in order to express himself well. However, as soon as Liulai said those words, his curiosity seemed to be more intense. While maintaining some blushing and shyness, he really started to help him check carefully, touching the lines carefully. It was okay to be poked a little bit, but Sakakihara Raku couldn't stand being touched continuously. Stop it, stop it. What's wrong? Are you feeling uncomfortable somewhere? Not to mention that the belly is very sensitive. Liulai's little hand touched the belly delicately, and it was a bit cold. She touched the lines between the rectus abdominis muscles, and Sakakibara was happy with herself. Knowing that his true colors were about to be revealed, and consciously knowing that he could not react so shamelessly in front of Liulai, he quickly turned around and coughed twice. It's not uncomfortable, it's just that, it's better that Liulai doesn't know. Liulai was confused as to why he suddenly turned around, but after hearing him cough twice, he realized his somewhat radical action just now. I'm sorry. It's okay, Sakakibara said immediately. Anyway, let's get started now. Okay. You come first or me first? Ellie June. Sakakihara pulled up a small bench and sat down. The so-called start, of course, refers to washing your hair. Sakakibara Raku turned his back to Amamikuruuri. After being told by her, Raku-kun, you can relax a little bit, she officially started the process of washing her hair. She first took out the comb she had prepared in advance and slowly smoothed Sakakibara's hair, then used the shower head to wet her hair, and applied the shampoo smoothly to all parts of her hair in batches. It's delicate and comfortable, and your body is warmed by the hot water. The feeling of being washed by your girlfriend is much more comfortable than washing your hair outside. I feel like girls are really more careful about washing their hair than boys. Yeah. Yeah, at least when I wash my hair, I don't straighten it first and then wash it, and the shampoo doesn't take care of everything so carefully. Then how does Raku-kun wash his hair? While Tianhaijuri helps Sakakihara Raku catch the bubbles, he turns sideways to look at his face. It's very simple. Squeeze the shower gel into your hands, cover your head, then grab it hard, rinse it with water, and you're done. Tianhaijuli Yulai smiled and continued to help him carefully comb his hair behind his back. Sure enough, it is more convenient for boys, but it is much more troublesome for girls. Because most of them have long hair, they are likely to get tangled, so they use a comb to smooth it before washing. Otherwise the tangled hair will definitely make you very uncomfortable when you wash it. Lejun should have washed Suzuchan's hair before, right? Ling, she has always had short hair. The longest hair only reaches her shoulders. It is also very smooth and has almost no knots. When I wash her hair, I use my own method. As for my sister-in-law, I seem to have seen Lejun blowing her hair recently. Zhixia just helped her blow her hair, and she mostly washed it by herself. Although the washing was terrible, her hair was not wiped at all when it came out, so I had to mop it again. I feel like Lejun has to take care of everyone at home, which is very hard. It's okay. In fact, I feel like it's no big deal if I'm not here. You can still order takeout, right? Tianhaijuli Yulai took off the shower head and rinsed his hair with hot water. Lejun, really don't say that. In fact, it's all because of you that we can stay together now. We can form a band now and be able to work every day, practice hard and be able to step onto the official stage step by step. Isn't it all thanks to you, brother, to keep everyone together? Please don't say anything that Chi Minjiao and I wouldn't have fallen out if you weren't here. Without my brother, I would most likely be following my mother abroad now, and my mother would definitely not let me return to China easily in the future. I'm afraid that I would be with you in the future. The emotions in July will also fade a lot. After saying these words, Tianhaijuli Yulai removed part of the hot water from his hair with his own hands, then put a dry towel on his head and wiped him dry. During this period, he also said, Raku-kun, get ready, you need to wipe your hair. This made Sakakihara Raku feel like a child. After washing her hair, Tianhaijuli Yulai took another basin of hot water and said behind him with a smile. Get ready, the hot water is here. I know. Sakakihara Raku replied with some helplessness. Ruri seemed to really take care of herself as a child. However, a basin of hot water flowed from the neck to the whole body, which was still so comfortable that one couldn't help but shiver. Don't move. It's time to wash your back now. Just relax. Well, you really treat yourself like a child. But the feeling of being taken care of like this made Sakakibara feel warm in his heart. Julie Yulai is really a good person. I wonder who would not dislike it when you were so old, but would rub your back and bathe you very carefully from behind. She is also willing to chat with you and wants to take care of your mood. When she is denying herself, she will also bring up your advantages to encourage you. Even though she is a person who likes to deny herself. This feeling of being taken care of and being loved all made Sakakihara Raku feel the cuteness of the girl named Ruri behind him, and felt that she really liked him. This mood also eased the awkward atmosphere in the bathroom a lot. Tianhaijuli Yulai also started to touch the shower gel. Her movements became even slower during this step. It was precisely because of her fullness that Sakakibara felt her little hands making his skin itchy and slippery, and he couldn't help but lift his shoulders and move his body. Lejun, don't move. I know, it's just Liulai that your hand made me feel a little itchy. Is it uncomfortable? It's better to say it's too comfortable. There was silence for a while. Come on, Lejun, raise your hands. After Sakakihara Raku was lifted up, Amamai Kuriyuri, who had her hair tied into a ball at the back, naturally looked at the lines on his side again. Lejun's figure is really good. Sakakibara immediately made a guess. Ruri, did you touch your abdominal muscles again when you were applying shower gel? Although he couldn't see Amamikuruuri's beautiful face, Sakakihara Raku knew that she must be blushing behind her. She didn't speak again for a long time, and even her movements to help apply shower gel were much gentler. It's okay, Ruri-chan. We'll have plenty of time to do other things in the future. I'll definitely let you touch your abdominal muscles as much as you want. Sooner or later you'll get used to it. So feel free to touch them now if you want. I won't blame you. Who said I was going to touch it? He touched the little hand that was applying shower gel on his back and paused for a moment. No? Does that mean Liuli wants to see enough? Yeah, I didn't say I wanted to see it either. Didn't Liuli take a sneak peek a few times just now? Wasn't he watching? Tianhai Jurili's face became even redder and hotter. She also felt that Sakakihara Raku seemed to have suddenly changed into another person, a little worse. He is indeed a bad guy. The girl put her hands on his back where the hot water had touched her and blushed as she thought, I don't want to care about you anymore. Why didn't Liuli speak? Finished wash. Is this a little temperamental? Sakakihara Raku actually likes Ruri's shy character with a temper the most, because after coaxing her, she has to forgive and rely on herself, not to mention how cute she is. Luli, I can completely understand your shyness. However, as a couple, if we like it, we can tell each other openly, so there is no need to be embarrassed. I just said that Lejun has a good figure. I didn't say that his abs are handsome. Tianhai Juliuli's eyes dodge and glance at him. The hot water fogged up the entire bathroom. Sakakibara turned around and saw the adorable appearance of Amamikuruuri holding the towel she had just wiped his head with. The shower was still on, making a sound as it hit the bathroom tiles. Lejun, why are you turning around all of a sudden? I just want to ask, why did Liuli touch her for so long just now? Sakakihara approached her face. On the contrary, Tianhai Juliuli did not dodge his gaze. While blushing, she showed a very serious look. Didn't Lejun say you can touch her? I also want to check if there is any disease. Luli. Ben, that's how it is. Luli. Originally, that's how it is. The hot water in the shower became a little hot. Sakakihara stood up and planned to turn off the hot water before talking to Liuli properly. Liuli, if you are too arrogant, you won't be cute. Tianhai Juliuli suddenly didn't reply. Raku Sakakihara stood up and saw that the hot water in the bathtub was not enough, so he turned the direction of the shower head at an angle. Furthermore, Ruri suddenly said that he would help me check my symptoms or something. It sounds like an excuse no matter what. Excuses are only used when escaping, and escaping. Sakakibara adjusted the shower head, and while speaking, turned to look again. Tianhai Juliuli was suddenly in a daze. Liuli, why did you suddenly stop talking again? At this time, Sakakihara Raku realized that she was holding the towel she had wiped her hair with, her mouth wide open, her head looking up at herself, and she was in a petrified state. Luli. Strangeness. There was no response, and there was still only the stiff look of Tianhai Juliuli looking up in front of him. The only sound left in the bathroom was the sound of the shower head pumping hot water into the bathtub. The heat continued to rise. Ruri, Sakakihara reached out to fan the hazy air in the bathroom, and at the same time waved it on her face to remind her to come back to her senses quickly. Tianhai Juliuli opened his mouth wide in surprise and froze for more than 10 seconds. What's going on? Liuli, why were you suddenly in a daze for so long? Did you see something shocking? Or did she discover the fact that she was half a slut? Just when Sakakihara Raku wanted to ask carefully what happened, he suddenly saw a stained bath towel under his feet. Bath towel. The bath towel fell off. What a big deal. Sakakibara was about to reach out and bend down, and when he took another look at the towel on the ground, he suddenly realized something. The air suddenly became silent. Etc. Bath towel. Li Yuli's bath towel was on her body, and the bath towel to wipe her back and head was in her hand. Then the bath towel under your feet is naturally. Hurry. Hurry. Sakakihara Raku had never turned around so anxiously and tried his best to pick up the bath towel from the ground. Li Yuli, Li Yuli, Li Yuli, please listen to my explanation first, I dash. Tianhaijuli Yuli didn't listen to anything, but because of his actions, she came back to her senses and turned her head away. In the next second, her face instantly turned red to the point of squeezing water, and it was extremely red. The girl was holding the towel tightly in her hands and contracting her shoulders. It could be seen that she was in a state of extreme shame. Finished, what to do now? Sakakibara put the towel back in place, sat on the small bench again, and turned his back to Amamikuru-uri. Ahem. No respond. The silence lasted longer this time, and the two of them still kept their backs to each other even as the hot water filled the bathtub. Tension brewed in the air, and Sakakihara Raku felt embarrassed and embarrassed. Luli, actually you didn't see anything, right? The girl didn't dare to look at his back at all, and couldn't even take a peek. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Bulletin 11 Huan Tio Yu Lan. Chapter 267. Embarrassment fermented in the thick air of the bathroom. Sakakihara Raku sat on a small stool and looked up. The incandescent lamp above his head was so dazzling. Lu Li. Ruri Sakakibara shouted behind him again. Ah. Well, yes, yes. Is it your turn next? Change for what? Didn't we agree that we should take a shower together? After I finish, it will be your turn. Is such that? Tianhaijuli Yuli responded, but it was not a complete response. After she agreed in a low voice, there was no more movement. He neither moved nor spoke again. I'm definitely thinking about what happened just now. Sakakibara thought in his mind and couldn't help but look at the white bath towel that had been wrapped around his legs again. Actually, there is nothing embarrassing about being seen, but he was seen in a kind of state. If the position was a little more upright, he would be facing Julie Yuli. That scene. I have to die, I have to die, I really have to die. Sakakihara held his head in his hands and kept rubbing his face up and down. Occasionally, a sad expression appeared from the gaps between his hands. Li Yuli, how do you feel now? Think you are a pervert? Exhibitionist? Disgusting boyfriend? And because you didn't dare to talk to yourself for more than 10 days just now? No, I don't want to do this at all. You have to take the initiative and pretend that what just happened never happened. Sakakibara checked the tightness of the towel around his waist before standing up again. He took off the shower head that filled the entire bathtub and reached out to test the water temperature of the shower head. When the water temperature was suitable, he pulled a small stool to the behind Tianhaijuli Yuli. Luli, can I wash your hair first? Fortunately, Li Yuli was not dumbfounded. Then let me help you untie your hair first. Good. Then it begins. Okay. After taking off the rubber band and letting her long flaxen hair fall down her shoulders, Sakakihara washed her hair according to the steps she had taken to wash her own hair before. While she was washing her hair, she refused to speak. Sakakihara Raku also didn't know what to say to her because of the embarrassment just now, so he silently scratched her head until every hair was covered with bubbles. It's flushed. No respond. Raku Sakakihara used the shower head to rinse all the foam from her hair. I have to say that her hair is of really good quality, thin and smooth, and it won't get tangled even if she doesn't take care of it. When washing, you can still smell the aroma of her hair and shampoo mixed together. In this way, Sakakihara Raku felt that washing her hair became a very comfortable thing. It was the way she remained silent that made Sakakibara a little worried that she had fallen into deep self-doubt because she had seen something she had never seen in her life. After all, that's what it is. It would be really embarrassing for a girl you have never met before, right? After washing her hair and wrapping her hair with another dry towel, the two of them were still in an awkward situation. After looking at her back, Sakakihara decided that he still had to talk to her, so he tentatively touched her petite shoulders with his hands and shouted in her ear. "Luli, can Luli talk?" Amamikuruuri blushed and put her hands between her legs. She heard Sakakihara Raku's voice calling her behind her. She knew that her brother wanted to talk to her. But how can she speak now? Seeing something so embarrassing, she just felt that she was powerful enough if she didn't cover her face on the spot. She knew that she was blushing, and she also knew that her face was so hot that she could no longer be seen. "Ruri, Ruri," Sakakihara called her twice after a while. Tianhaijuli Yulai didn't hear it at all, she just kept recalling the scene in her mind. That picture. No. Really cannot. Tianhaijuli Yulai really wanted to find a gap in the floor tiles to get in, but how could she see it? How could you see it? Obviously, it was obvious that the two of them had only been dating for a short time and had only kissed lightly on the mouth. They were in a state of mind where even holding hands would make them feel sweet. How could this happen? Although, she was already prepared for that tonight. "Luli, Luli, can you please talk to me?" "Lejun Lejun, he is still calling me, should I respond?" "Luli, Lu-li. Respond." "No, it won't work. I can't talk to him yet. After all, it's such a shameful thing. But then I thought about it, Lejun, he should be more embarrassed than me, right? My brother is usually not very thick-skinned, and he is the kind of boy who blushes when he is near me. He likes me, and he is also a very good person who wants to cherish himself. So, he was actually the one who suffered the most embarrassment during that moment of mistake, right? After all, he was the one who was exposed. Well, that must be the case. Absolutely. Even though Lejun was so embarrassed, he still tried to talk to me, which meant that he must be taking care of my mood. Don't want me to be embarrassed. I also want and should work hard to respond. That's right, that's it. When Tianhaijuli Yulai thought of this, he breathed a sigh of relief, calmed down his mind a little, and put all the scenes he had just seen behind his mind, no, for the time being. She held the bath towel in her hand, and when Raku Sakakihara almost doubted herself, she turned her face away and raised her sky-blue shining eyes. "Luli, you are finally willing to talk." "Lejun. Well, actually, I really didn't see anything just now." Tianhaijuli Yulai's face was visibly red, her hands were folded in front of her lower abdomen, and her thighs covered by the towel reflected the pinkish-white color. Sakakibara was happy to see that she was willing to talk to him, and he must be happy, but Li Yulai, if you are still saying such things in this state, don't you think there is no 300 taels of silver here? Forget it, just follow her first. Well, yes, Li Yulai didn't see anything. Yes, Lejun is right. Both of them were silent at the same time. Because they all know it, they just saw it, okay. Tianhaijuli Yulai couldn't raise her head in front of him because of her lies and shyness. How can this go on? Sakakibara knew that neither of them could have a normal conversation in this situation, so he scratched his face in embarrassment, sighed, and apologized first. "Sorry, Li Yulai." "Why did Lejun apologize? Nothing happened in the first place." I was really careless just now, I accidentally let you see it. Be quiet for a while. Lejun, you still said it? Are you ashamed? It doesn't matter, Lejun definitely didn't mean it, it definitely wasn't intentional. No, it's okay. Actually, I only saw it for a moment. Luli is embarrassed, right? No, not at all. Tianhai Julie Yulai was so hot that she couldn't turn her head, because she had been thinking about that scene. She didn't know why she had to think about it. No, 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 Ellie June, don't worry, I will be responsible for you. After all, I saw it, and I did see it. Sakaki Hara was stunned. Responsible? What is this responsible for? Ruri, I don't know if I should tell you the truth. I just took a look and it should be nothing. Haha. Sakaki Hara knew he was laughing awkwardly, but what could he do? The atmosphere was already very awkward. He said this also comforting myself. Well, yes, it's just that I just took a look. Tianhai Julie Yulai was also trying very hard to adjust her mentality. Only then did she realize that she had just said something stupid again. That's right. Let me wash your back next, Li Yulai, you were busy just now. Sakaki Hararaku wanted to find something to do. Wash your back. Tianhai Julie Yulai's eyes dodge, she really wants to escape now, escape from here. Sakakibara saw her hesitation and realized that the atmosphere was not right to begin with. Now he was not causing trouble, how about forget it? I'll go out now. This, Tianhai Julie Yulai said quickly, there is no need to mention this. It is just a bath. It is inevitable that this kind of thing may happen. That's right. Amamai Kuruori's words suddenly awakened Sakaki Hararaku. Aren't we supposed to take a shower together? It's only natural that this kind of thing would happen. If we come in and take a bath together and nothing happens, then we've just washed away our loneliness. Taking a shower with my girlfriend, washing my girlfriend's hair and rubbing her back, just to get used to this process. Even if you don't adapt now, you will adapt sooner or later, so it's better to adapt now. Anyway, she is his girlfriend. Why am I still feeling a little embarrassed? I can't even speak flexibly. Isn't Julie Yulai cute wearing only a bath towel? Isn't the blushing Julie Yulai cute? Aren't her legs white and beautiful? Not in good shape? Each of these questions made Sakaki Hararaku understand the reality. At this time, he should coax Julie Yulai and hug her hard. In that case, Li Yulai, please turn around. Oh. Then let me help you take off the bath towel from your upper body. Lejun didn't seem as embarrassed as before. Tianhai Julie Yulai nodded subconsciously, okay. Oh no, I'd better do this myself. Okay, you can do this yourself. Her movements were very slow, which also allowed Raku Sakakibara to see the bath towel slowly sliding down the girl's back. Her fair skin was smooth and delicate. Within a moment, in the quiet mist, Sakaki Hararaku could only see the pure white patch in front of her. So white, so slim, and my waist is so thin. This was Sakaki Hararaku's first thought. No, nothing strange, right? No, not at all. The back exposed in front of you is petite and cute, especially the spine line in the middle, which is very beautiful. As soon as your eyes touch the graceful lines of the girl's back, your heart moves inexplicably, making people swallow their saliva subconsciously. Throat rolls. It makes people want to move their eyes away in embarrassment, but they can't do it at all. They just want to wander around in that spine line and take a few more glances. Moreover, at this time, as long as you look slightly downward along the back line, you can carefully see the girl's slender waist on both sides and the white bath towel draped under her waist. Li Yulai's waist is very thin, but not thin. Her skin has a soft and waxy feel and looks fleshy and elastic. After just watching for a while, Sakakihara Raku felt a little distraught. Ahem. Liulai. Huh? Is there anything strange? No, no, it's just that my nose is about to bleed. Tianhaijuli Yulai was embarrassed and didn't know what to answer, so she could only tangle her fingers in front of her and replied weakly, it's not that exaggerated. No, really, in my eyes. Then, as long as you like it? Well, then I'll start. Okay, I'm ready. Raku Sakakibara poured hot water on the girl's back with a shower head. Because of the temperature of the hot water, Amamaikururi shrank her shoulders reflexively. Luli, don't make such a strange sound. Otherwise, I will have something wrong with you. Okay, okay. After that, Raku Sakakihara applied shower gel to the girl's back in a normal manner while washing her body. From the shoulder to the shoulder blade, and then from the shoulder blade to the waistline. It seems that Amamaikuri is very, very ticklish. When Sakakibara helps her apply the bath to her waist, she always twitches shyly. Sorry. It's a little itchy. You are too cute. Seeing this, Sakakibara couldn't bear it anymore, so he secretly pinched the flesh on his waist. Then Liulai couldn't stand it anymore, and said I will do it myself, and hurriedly rinsed the bubbles off her body, then wrapped herself in a bath towel again and ran away from Sakakibara Raku's hands. Seeing that he couldn't help her rub her back, Sakakihara Raku felt a little annoyed. It turned out that it was really not a good thing for his girlfriend to be too shy. Asterisk. I'm really sorry, Liulai. However, the two of them still entered the bathtub together, which had been placed for a long time. Sakakibara was on the left side, and Amamaikururi was shyly shrinking at the other end, hugging her legs. In order to prevent the bath towel from soaking in water and loosening, she wrapped it tightly. Maybe Tianhaijuli Yulai was a little angry now because he touched her a little while washing. Bad guy. Can you forgive me? Not good. Sakakibara moved a little closer to her. Surprisingly, the girl who was hugging her legs and looking a little angry did not refuse his approach. What did you do that went too far? Tell me. As long as you tell me, I will immediately correct. I don't want to care about you anymore. Luli, I think you are very, very cute now. Don't think that Lejun said anything nice. Ruri Sakakihara took her hand and squeezed it gently. Tianhaijuli Yulai softened under his attack and secretly looked at him, just for a moment. Yeah, I don't blame you all the time. When you pinched my waist just now, you also came close to bite my ear. It was too much. Then Liulai forgives me now. Only a little. Actually, it's also my fault that Liulai was too cute just now. Lejun also said, it's just bad. Although he was glared at, Sakakihara Raku moved closer to her despite her refusal. This bathtub seems to be specially designed by the hotel to be large, very suitable for two people. You can also hear a slight paddling sound when moving. Luli, can you come closer now? Tianhaijuli Yulai looked at him specifically, feeling strange, and asked tentatively, why did Lejun suddenly become so active? Didn't I do something wrong? Shouldn't you try to ask for forgiveness if you did something wrong? How could you take the initiative? I'm just trying to get closer to you, Liulai. Didn't you say before that you wanted me to hug you more and pamper you more? I won't come now? Can you lean on me and take a bath for a while? I still want to hug you. Tianhaijuli Yulai suddenly softened after hearing what she had said to him before. Hug is also the behavior that Tianhaijuli Yulai can't refuse him the most. She has always sought a sense of security in him and has always wanted to rely on him. In addition, she originally wanted to get closer. After all, in her eyes, Lejun's body is quite attractive. So after Sakakibara Raku said a few words in succession that he would hug her well and love her well, Amamaikururi reluctantly agreed. Okay, just hug him for a while, but I still want to say that Lejun is the bad guy. This is a fact. Okay, Li Yulai, come a little closer and lie on top of me. Initially, Li Yulai was still somewhat reluctant, but after being pulled by Sakakibara Raku, she still leaned against him. When it came into contact with skin and body temperature, her face, which was still a bit temperamental, instantly turned red. She wanted to get up, but was hugged by Sakakibara Raku, which made her lose her balance even more. Can you come over and lean against me, Li Yulai? Tianhaijuli Yulai, who was already shy, instantly softened in his arms. Julie Yulai who wants to hug is the cutest. Don't use these words to praise children. Dislike. It's not that I don't like it, and why does Lejun's attitude change so quickly sometimes, even though he was a little embarrassed just now? I figured it out. What do you understand? Since I want to hug you, I should take the initiative. The more proactive the bad, the shy Lejun is cuter. Isn't it good to take the initiative? I see Li Yulai that you are enjoying lying in my arms right now. Where? Look, I lied again, so how about I stop hugging you? No, she murmured softly and squeezed towards him. You don't want to, do you mean you still want to hug me? Sakakibara carefully felt the petite and slender figure in his arms, holding the weight of her body in his hands. It's not all your fault. What's my fault? It's all because of you that I like you so much. Now I want to rely on you in everything I do, Tianhaijuli Yulai said, her face moved a little closer to his chest. Isn't this Li Yulai's fault? It's all because you were too kind to me. You have never been harsh to me, and you have never asked me to do anything. You not only encourage me, but are also willing to accept me when I have done wrong things. Why are you so nice to me? Sakakibara heard that she wanted to express her feelings, so he hugged her and tried his best to soothe her mood with words. Tianhaijuli Yulai just leaned in his arms quietly. After a while, he felt reassured by his words. Let me hug you for a while longer, even if you just bit my ear and pinched my waist as punishment. Using rewards as punishment. It's either a reward or a punishment. I won't let you move. Alright. After receiving Ruri's cute request, Sakakibara Raku was gently hugged by her upper body. Different from the past, the hug at this moment was also soaked in hot water, which was much more comfortable. Would you like a kiss? After Tianhaijuli Yulai lowered her eyebrows for a while, she agreed to his request. After staring for a while, her beautiful face took the initiative to move towards him. The moment of contact. Long, sweet, soft, and waxy. Such a feeling made Sakakibara hold his breath almost reflexively. Wetness came from the lips, making Sakakibara feel that this deep kiss was quite long. Those soft and fragrant lips, the blurry feeling on her body, and the intoxicating girla fragrance on her body are enough to make anyone addicted. After they finally separated, their body temperature was already in a feverish state due to the soaking in hot water. Sakakibara Raku felt that his head was becoming dizzy due to the contact between the hot water and the girl's body temperature. Lejun. It took him a while to realize that Tianhaijuli Yulai was calling his name with two small hands on his chest. Sakakibara replied with a nasal tone. He opened his eyes and saw Tianhaijuli blushing above her. She put her hands on her chest and looked at herself below with an extremely shy look. The light in the bathroom made her silhouette look extraordinarily beautiful. Her cheeks were shy, her sky-blue eyes trembled as if she had made up her mind, and then she said those words to Sakakibara. Let me accompany you tonight. Okay. Wait a minute, Li Yulai, which company are you talking about? Tianhaijuli Yulai pursed her lips hard, lowered her extremely red cheeks, and uttered a few words in an extremely shy voice. What did Lejun say? About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Buletin 11 Huan Tio Yu Lan. Chapter 268. What did Lejun say? When he saw Amamikuruori's blushing cheeks, her two little hands on her chest, her lips pressed together, and she said this to herself, Sakakihara felt that her heart had stopped. Literal cardiac arrest. Is it not okay? Her next words brought Sakakibara out of his daze. The misty bathroom, the hot water soaking the whole body, the blushing gaze, and the girl's slender pink shoulders stained with water droplets. These all made Sakakihara Raku's heart beat faster, and her face and body were as red as fire. But when he thought about his inner thoughts about taking the initiative just now, Sakakibara pretended to be calm and said, "Sure." He agreed. This was good news for Tianhai Yuli, but she was not in the excited state of cheering after getting this exact reply. Her face remained red and hot. After a careful she lowered her head and left his chest. Most of the girl's body was submerged in the hot water again, making a sound. This time she did not lean against Sakakihara Raku's chest again, but sat on her knees in front of him, leaving him with an extremely red face. Probably because of what he said just now, and the reason why he was agreed to. Yuli, who was already very insecure, felt more uneasy. She thought of what might happen at night and began to worry about the future. For example, will you be responsible for yourself? Will you always like yourself? Will you marry yourself? There are endless thoughts. While feeling uneasy, Tianhai Yuli also comforted herself in her heart. No, you can't think like that. That would be distrust of Lejun. He was still willing to believe in himself even though he had treated him that way. Be willing to forgive yourself. Be willing to accept yourself. I am willing to cook delicious dishes for myself every day. How could I not trust him? Sakakibara looked towards her watery cheek and saw that her face was flushed and her eyes were slightly red and moist. What is she thinking about now? Do you regret saying what you just said? She looks very weak and helpless now. She must be extremely complicated inside, right? Sakakibara, who was originally forced to rely on the right side of the bathtub, slightly propped himself up, and his eyes met the girl's burning cheek. He knew that Yuli had to make a lot of mental preparations to say what he just said to himself. Luli, are you not mentally prepared? Tianhai Yuli closed her eyes hard twice and then raised her red eyes and said hurriedly, no. Yes, it's completely okay. I know, Liuli, you don't have to be so nervous. Sakakihara tried his best to calm her down. Hug, sorry, I'm a little excited. But it's not that I'm unwilling, but I'm still a little. Tianhai Yuli didn't know how to describe these emotions. Embarrassed, Sakakihara followed her words and helped her speak. Yes, Tianhai Yuli nodded vigorously after hearing what he said as if he understood it by heart. It's normal to be embarrassed. Sakakibara looked away and touched his chin, even me, I would feel embarrassed. After all, this kind of thing also means entrusting one's life to one person, which is a very heavy thing. Yuli must be thinking so. Tianhai Yuli didn't reply, but he listened to every word in his heart. I can understand your current mood, Liuli. If you like someone, you must want to be good to that person, want to be close to the other person, want to have more contact with the other person, want and be willing to trust the other person completely, but Liuli, being willing to trust the other person does not mean that you must have a sense of security when you are about to entrust your life to you. Not having a sense of security means not trusting the other person, which is not the case at all. Because this is a lifelong thing for you, I don't know what other girls think about this, but I know that Liuli always keeps a distance from other members of the opposite sex outside and doesn't wear too charming clothes. For such a conservative girl, she must feel this way. So, please don't worry too much. Liulikian's uneasiness towards me is normal and correct. In other words, you should ask for more from me now, ask for more, and want to be good to you only. This is normal, after all, Li Yulai, you have decided to commit your life to me. Tianhaijuli Yulai's eyes turned red after hearing these many understood words. In fact, she had been thinking that after going through that incident, she had no qualifications to ask him for anything. In terms of emotions, he is mostly willing to sympathize with himself. But what he is saying now is telling himself that he is willing to respect himself, his own ideas, his emotional temper, and his needs from him. This feeling of recognition was unprecedented before meeting him. My mother always has only one goal for herself. If she completes it, she will take it for granted. If she fails to complete it, she will practice harder. Even if she wants her to take her out with her, go to an amusement park or eat out, my mother never cared. But now, he cares very much, and he is willing to care, and he is willing to respect his own thoughts and the needs that he hides in his heart and dare not speak out. This made Tianhaijuli Yulai feel warm in her heart. Feeling recognized and liked. Amamai Kuruuri, whose eyes were originally red, couldn't help but tears falling from the corners of her eyes at this moment. She stared at Sakaki Hararaku's face sideways and pressed her lips tightly. She couldn't hold back the tears, but she was strong. Same as patience. I don't know, should. Sakaki Hara felt her mood seriously and wanted to comfort her as much as possible, so he reached out his hand and wiped the tears on her cheeks. Don't look at me like this, it makes me seem like I'm bullying you. It's just bullying. Why are you saying these things to me? I'm just trying to comfort you, don't cry. It makes me feel quite uncomfortable when I see you crying. I didn't cry, I just, I don't know what I want to say. Sakakibara's mood was quite complicated at first, because there were too many things to consider with Julie Yulai's request. But Julie Yulai's current I don't know what I'm going to say almost made him laugh. I know. Li Yulai didn't cry. After all, she had promised her in my arms before. That was the last time she cried. Lejun still wants to laugh. Tianhaijuli Yulai pursed her lips and kept looking at him with her bright sky blue eyes. Sorry, Raku Sakaki Hara apologized quickly, and then looked at her like a little girl and couldn't help but smile. Annoying. Punch me a few more times to feel comfortable. The thing about dropping the bath towel just now is also bad. Then hit me and calm down, but it really wasn't my intention. I'm embarrassed to help you wash your back. I'm sorry, Lejun, you're still pinching me. Alas, Sakakibara Raku could only say Amitba in his heart. After all, he was still a virgin, and it was his first time to wash the back of a girl of the same age. There was nothing he could do about the overflow of emotions in adolescence. After all, he was physiologically curious and wanted to try hugging her normally. What does it feel like to pinch a thin waist that feels particularly soft when you put it on? Ahem. Didn't I explain it before? It's all because Li Yulai is too cute. Isn't this Lejun's fault? Tianhaijuli Yulai said softly. After the conversation just now, the atmosphere between the two became much better. Sakakibara Raku could clearly feel that he felt much more comfortable talking to Julie Yulai. After a while. Lu Li. Tianhaijuli Yulai responded a little shyly and evasively. Well, take a bath, let's just stop here. How could Tianhaijuli Yulai not understand what he meant? After a moment of hesitation, she responded lightly, well. Then, are you sleeping? There was another quite long silence. Lejun, go out first. What about Li Yulai? I'll be out in a minute. Oh, that's it, I even said I would carry you out. Hug it out or something, it's so embarrassing. Li Yulai, are you, still a little embarrassed? Of course, isn't this a natural thing? Oh, okay then, I'll go out first and I'll wait for you outside. Wait for me. Tianhai Julie watched him get up and walk out of the bathroom, his cheeks becoming hot and red again. What are you talking about? The girl who is alone in the bathroom lowers your shy face again. Asterisk. Raku Sakakibara simply wiped his body, which was filled with white air from the hot water, with a bath towel outside. He picked up the remote control to increase the temperature of the hotel's air conditioner, and then sat back on his bed. Looking at Juliuli's fragrant clothes on the white quilt, he would inevitably have certain thoughts about what Juliuli said to him. This is nonsense. Who wouldn't want to spend the night with a cute and beautiful girl like Juliuli? During the waiting time while looking at the hazy glass wall of the bathroom, Sakakibara saw his mobile phone on the bedside flashing. Take a closer look at the phone screen. Tianhai Kaimingyu, who has a cartoon shark avatar, sent a message to herself using line. Doing what? I don't know if Miss Chuer's intuition is too effective for me. Sakakibara wondered why she had just come out of the bathroom, why Chi sent a message. Raku Sakakihara glanced at the timestamp in the upper right corner of his phone. 23 hours 34 minutes and 21 seconds. Nothing, I just came out of the bath. You should be sleeping at this time, right? You had so much fun today, going shopping and watching Jaws at Universal Studios. Compared to the cold July who usually chatted with her, Raku Sakakihara felt that her tone was much softer across the internet. What's the matter with chatting with me so late? Can't sleep? Can't sleep? No, you seem to be very happy today. I had a pretty good day today, at least I felt like I was traveling, but that doesn't mean I was able to sleep well at night. July, there is something in the words. What state is she probably in now? Sakakibara roughly imagined that he was staying alone in an oversized hotel suite. He had just taken a shower, or had not taken a shower. He was leaning on the bed by himself, holding his mobile phone and reading a book because he couldn't sleep. Although July usually looks very cold and alienated from people. But judging from the results of Sakakibara's recent visits to her, she still hopes to go to her by herself. She is even willing to let her knees rest on her and let her squeeze her legs and rub her feet. Although he agreed to her, he and she are now boyfriend and girlfriend. But for Kyo, her boyfriend is currently in the next room with someone else, maybe talking and laughing, and he is very happy. Sorry, Sakakihara tapped her fingers on the screen, hovering over the green send button for 2 seconds, and finally pressed it. After 5 seconds, the bubble pops up. Is an apology enough? It's definitely not enough, Sakakihara continued to reply. I don't want to bind you with promises, Ellie. The only thing I hope now is that the person I like is at least someone who won't cheat on me. Sorry, I just remembered some things from the past when I was reading a book. So, you came to chat with me with the idea of sharing your feelings. You are my boyfriend, can't I talk to you? Seeing this text in the bubble window, Sakakihara wanted to scratch the back of his head for no reason. This is not something that she would usually say. Ellie, you still owe me many stories. Sakakihara Raku recalled the scene of making a promise on that summer night when he was a child. If you don't hurry up, the rest of your life won't be enough to repay you. Sakakibara watched the little shark's head dim with his own eyes. It's wired. It's really strange. Chi-Chi obviously didn't tell him anything about Liuli, but everything made him want to think about Chi-Chi. Don't feel sorry for her again, don't break your promise to her again. After all, she has always kept the promise she made until now. If I really agreed to Liuli tonight, I would definitely know about it on the 2nd day of July. What will she think then? Sakakibara feels that with Kyo's character, now that she has given up everything for herself, if he breaks his agreement with her again, to make peace with Ruri first, then Kyo will be really disheartened. Gone far away. Suddenly another message popped up online. It's still July. Sakakibara picked up the phone again and checked it. Ah, by the way, I saw my sister enter your room with my own eyes. Really? Do you remember what I just said? Which sentence? Guess. I still owe you a lot of stories. Should I go stay with you at midnight tonight? No. What is that? Guess. Amamai Nanamayu still had the same answer, and Sakakibara thought about it for a while. Don't you want to bind me with your emotions? Add the word to before restraint. If you tease your sister appropriately, she will like her. This is something I have personally verified. Then, after that, Tian Haikaimingu lost faith. Sakakihara finally understood that Kyo didn't want to break his bottom line. But he had no intention of breaking the bottom line. If he dared to do that, Chi-Chi might knock on the door in the middle of the night. That would be terrible. He didn't want to suddenly sit on the bedside and look at the two of them coldly while holding Liulai and Kyo. It's like a horror movie, isn't it? Putting down the phone, Tianhaijuli Yulai just walked out of the bathroom hesitantly. Her beautiful figure was wrapped in a bath towel, her shoulders were white as snow, and her face was a cute cherry pink color. She had dried her hair and was holding one arm coyly, walking slowly to the bed. That. Luli is scared again. Turn off the light. I'm still a little embarrassed. Understandable. Sakakibara stood up and turned off the big lights in the hotel room, leaving only some faint light hidden in the corners. The atmosphere became more ambiguous. Luli, very cute. Now, just don't say these embarrassing words. Then what should I do? Stupid. Sakakibara put his arm around her waist and picked up the princess. This moment was a bit sudden. It was the first time that Tianhaijuli Yulai was held wholeheartedly by him like this. Luli is a little heavy. Have you gained weight recently? How can I have always been this weight. Sakakibara looked at the blushing cheeks of the cute girl in his arms and pressed her forehead against her. Ruri is so cute. Don't say it. Then shall I carry you up? After seeing Tianhaiju really hiding her face and nodding lightly, Sakakibara hugged her on the white bed with some anxiety but in a good mood. He put his hands on top and looked at the shy man with long flaxen hair hanging open. Girl. Because of his gaze from above and his aura that could not be ignored from above to below, the girl's flawless white legs, which had her eyes closed tightly, involuntarily tightened inwards out of fear. Sakakihara admired her face for a while, took a deep breath, said something to her, leaned over and kissed her lips. Continued, Chapter 263.5. Late at night, Tianhaikaimingu suddenly opened her eyes in her sleep and glanced at the wall of the next room. You wouldn't dare anyway. It doesn't matter. She lowered her head and said to herself, then turned around and covered her head with the quilt. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Buletin 11 Huan Tio Yu Lan. Chapter 269. Chapter 269. New Year's Eve Theater. Scene, in the new year, a family of 5 people sat together and were pulled into a small room by a mysterious force. Here, they were forced to answer various strange questions. Q. What do you want to do in the new year? Sakakibara Suzu, feeling suspicious of the surrounding environment, looking around, full of doubts. Me? Of course I will eat more tornado potatoes. Suddenly Sakiju sitting opposite, puckered, and of course, chase away the 2 foxes. Tianhaijuli Yulai, smiling at Sister Jiang's unabashed gaze. I still hope that everyone can get along with each other more friendly in the new year. Tianhaikaimingu, completely ignored the provocative Sister Chan, closed her eyes and hugged her chest. Sister Chan, don't think about revenge. It's great to call me sister. I can still take care of you. As for the New Year's wish, I just hope that my brother will spending more time studying. Running will not help him inherit the family business. Raku Sakakibara thought about it seriously. As expected, it is better for the family to live in harmony. I hope that Kiju and Suzu will not be at odds with each other all day long. As expected, at this point, the new and quiet Kojiki Yuki is the best. Tenkai no Snow, looking blankly at the ceiling of the room. Fried ice cream. Asterisk. Q. What kind of person do you think Sakakibara Raku is in your hearts? Sakakihara Suzu, crossing her arms and shaming Smelly Lele. Central air conditioning. Tianhaijuli Yulai, serious face, a person who only knows how to be good to others and forgets his own feelings. Tianhai Kaiming Yu, closes eyes and meditates. I am quite stable at the moment, but I lack opinions and responsibility on certain issues, but I am still reliable at critical moments. I know how to take care of others and understand what kind of situation I am in. Status, and my emotional intelligence has improved a lot recently. But as my sister said just now, he is a person who doesn't know how to care about himself. I think my brother needs to grow up a little more. Sometimes he needs to understand that his needs will also be ignored by others. People should consider each other instead of blindly filling in and satisfying each other. Of course, this will make the other person feel good, but for him, it will lose his true self. Sakakihara Raku, looking at Nanamajetsu, who said a long series of words, speechless. Tenkai no Snow, looking blankly at the ceiling of the room. Fried ice cream. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Bulletin 11 Huan Tio Yu Lan. Chapter 270. Brother, clothes, please raise your right hand first. Oh, okay. In the early morning of the next day, Sakakibara Raku got up under the care of Amamikuruuri. Probably because she had a special liking for helping people change clothes, when she saw Sakakibara Raku standing in front of the mirror changing clothes, she took the initiative. He came forward to help him straighten his sleeves and straighten his collar. Sakakihara Raku found that when he looked at Amamikuruuri, she would avoid her sight intentionally or unintentionally, and even the movement of straightening her sleeves would slow down a lot. Ruri, I'm sorry. Last night Sakakibara looked at Amamikuruuri, who was hiding her face in front of her. He hesitated again and again, but finally spoke out his apology to her out of the embarrassment and shame in his heart. Amamikuruuri paused for a moment, then pulled the zipper of his coat to the highest position. The movement was very slow, but Sakakihara Raku was still forced to raise his chin. Brother, this was not the case last night. I was just in a hurry. The more my brother explains, the less he can hide what he has done. Well, I'm really sorry. I sincerely apologize to you. I'm not blaming you, brother. As Amamikuruuri said, her hand left the zipper. She turned away from Sakakibara Raku, looked away, and pulled the hair behind her ears. But when I got up today, I remembered what happened last night. I still don't know how to face you, Lejun. Jurili's words made Sakakihara Raku a little unable to stand. He could even use the verb scratching his head and ears to describe his mood at the moment. After reluctantly using me too to prevaricate a sentence, he immediately added, well, what should I say? I really want to make it up to Liulijian, but I don't know what to do. Should you ask me about this kind of thing? I am not asking you for your opinion, Liuli. Sometimes it's easy for a person to think about things alone and make things self-defeating. Of course it's best to ask the person involved. To be honest, Sakakihara Raku felt that he went a little too far last night. You must know that Liuli is in love for the first time, likes someone for the first time, and is willing to have such contact with a person of the opposite sex for the first time. Ruri gave himself all the emotions he could give him during their first relationship, so Sakakihara Raku's conscience and rationality made him feel guilty for Ruri now. There is no doubt that she will be sad when she is sad. Actually, I don't care too much about what happened last night, and Lejun doesn't need to apologize. After all, for me, what Lejun said yesterday is enough for me. Well, it's really enough, probably because he was afraid that Sakakibara Raku would not believe what he said. Amamikuruori emphasized it again after he finished speaking, and even laughed. The smile is very warm and beautiful. Sakakihara Raku also laughed. I feel like Ruri is the kind of little girl who is particularly easy to deceive. Not too young, already 16 years old. 16. Sakakihara Raku was almost silenced by her words. Grass, yes. She is only 16 years old. But when I thought about it, I was only 1 year older than her and almost 2 years older, so there seemed to be nothing unacceptable. They are all young boys and girls. Amamikuruori suddenly hugged him and put her face against his chest, which made Sakakibara Raku stunned for a moment. What's wrong? I'm happy. What are you happy about? Happily Lejun can like me and be willing to treat me like a treasure. He rarely asks me to do something because he cares about my feelings. But for me, I like the feeling that Lejun needs me, and I want it too. I can feel this love even more from Lejun. Li Yulai hugged herself tightly and said such endearing words, which made love surge in his heart. Sakakihara Raku couldn't help but hug her slender body, stroke her soft flaxen hair, and let her smile happily in his arms. Tianhaijuli Yulai felt that he responded to her hug, and with a sweet feeling in her heart, she looked over his shoulder at the side of his cheek, moved it up slightly, and smiled. Li Yulai, please stop being so clingy. Yes. Too much like a child. Where has the usually generous, gentle, and dignified Li Yulai gone now? Been eaten by Lejun. It's not necessarily too gross, I thought in my heart, but I couldn't restrain the love in my heart. With my forehead against my forehead, Sakakihara laughed and laughed with her for a while. Ahem. Okay, it's time to be more serious. Should we go have breakfast now? Go out to eat, Tianhaijuli Yulai raised his face and asked. Didn't the hotel give out buffet coupons when I booked the room last night? Let's eat this in the morning. I heard that there are some Osaka specialties. I asked Chi Minjio and the others to come too. I guess Aling and Ji Shui are still sleeping in. Okay, let's go and ask them to have dinner together. Sakakihara was happy to see Tianhaijuli Yulai happy, and he was also very happy in his heart. Okay, by the way, Li Yulai, do you dare to see Chi Chi now? This time, Amamikuruori was stopped, and she cautiously said to Sakakihara Raku. She probably doesn't know that I'm here at night. Don't you two have some sense of twins? Be quiet for a moment. Brother, go shout. Asterisk. I'm going to ring the bell Chan and my aunt's room, and my brother can just go find Chi Minjio. Oh, wait a minute, why am I looking for Chi Minjio? We want to go together. Sakakihara Raku lowered his hands when he saw the back of Amamikuruori running away, thinking that it was over. But forget it, the boat will naturally go straight when it reaches the bridge. He came to Tianhai Chi Minjio's room and knocked twice on her door. Boom boom. Originally, he didn't expect the door to open with 2 knocks, so Sakakihara planned to knock twice more. But I never thought that with just 2 knocks, the door would make the sound of the lock turning. The door opened. Tianhai Kaimingyu changed her clothes for traveling and stood at the door in advance, as if someone would knock on her door in advance. Sakakibara looked at her, and she looked at Sakakibara. The sky blue eyes were dull, but extremely cold. Good morning, July. Sakakihara smiled first and said hello. Good morning. How good is it? Sakakibara secretly thought something was wrong, but still smiled. Quickly pack up and let's go have breakfast together. We'll rush to Kyoto today. Tianhai Kaimingyu responded with indifference, looked at his empty body, stood inside the door, raised her head and asked him. Where's my sister? Ruri went to call Suzu and Zyuki and the others, Sakaki Hararaku explained. You don't dare to come and face me. Tian Haikaiminyu half closed her eyes and exuded intimidation. No, no, how come I suddenly don't dare to face you? Didn't you have a lot of fun yesterday? You have a good relationship. Except for the time I entered your room last night and never came out, my relationship with my sister is indeed pretty good. Not talking anymore. Kyo, didn't you tell me via line last night? I have nothing else to say. Sakakibara smiled lightly. Tianhai Chi Minjiu didn't want to beat around the bush with him anymore. She crossed her arms and faced him. Do you two know that I couldn't sleep in the middle of the night? Can't sleep? Why do you sleep? Oh. It took Sakaki Hararaku 2 seconds to realize. It's probably because of some connection between the twin sisters that caused July next door to sleep very strangely at night. Actually, we didn't do anything. Nothing? Are you sure? Tianhai Chi Minjiu opened her squinting eyes. I just slept later than usual. Sakakibara looked away from her and scratched his cheek. It's really nothing. Really? My throat is dry in the middle of the night and I want to drink water for no reason. Brother, do you have any clues? No, no, not at all. I don't know anything. Really not? Sakakibara replied immediately, no. Tian Haikaiminyu glanced at him with disdainful eyes. The face is pale, the whites of the eyes are too much, and the eyes are wandering. According to the theory of traditional Chinese medicine, this is called insufficient kidney qi. It's okay, I'm in good health. Sakakibara's mouth twitched. Amamai Nanamijiu twisted the flesh on his waist, and her beautiful face took the initiative to face Raku Sakakihara, whose mouth was slightly deformed. My brother's body is very good, isn't it? How good is it? It'll be fine after a few minutes. Is everything going to be fine after a few minutes? Is my sister in good health too? I don't know about this, but judging from Liulai's regular exercise, she must be in good health. Then, you worked hard from 11:30 p.m. to 3 a.m., right? How did you know? His Chi-Chi, please let go, it really hurts. Because I couldn't sleep until 3 o'clock in the morning last night. There was no hole in your back yet. Brother, why does it hurt? Then if you stab me a few more times, it will hurt me too. That's fair. Tian Haikaiminyu withdrew her hand. Are you afraid of death, brother? Afraid of death? Raku Sakakihara touched the flesh on his waist. I have never been afraid of this. Even if you ask me to jump off a building now, I can do it. To be honest, even if you take out a knife and stab me now, and I fully approve of your doing so. Tian Haikaiminyu didn't see the joke in his words, he was sincere. Then why not go? Because there is still a bond in my heart, Kyo, I never live for myself. When one day you, Liulai, and Aling no longer need me, it is normal for me to leave, just like you left when you were a child. That family met me just like that. Tian Haikaiminyu can understand the feeling in his words, because this is something she has cared about her whole life. She was speechless for a few seconds, then folded her hands and said sideways, the most annoying thing is the person who gives up his life. Brother, do you remember what I said before? What? You don't know how much debt you owe me. It won't be enough to repay it for the rest of your life. Do you want to die? Want to jump off a building? There's no such thing as that simple. Sakakibara looked at her plain and calm profile, smiled and said, it's so difficult to say that I'm reluctant to die. Okay, let's go eat. I'll just pretend I don't know anything about what happened last night. Tian Haikaiminyu closed the door of the room, talked to herself, turned around and walked onto the wool carpet in the hotel corridor. Sakakibara smiled as he watched the girl's elegant figure gradually walk away. They are all tsunderies. Asterisk. The hotel has a special breakfast buffet, which you can participate in with the meal coupon you got when booking the room. Most of them are Osaka's specialties, and the taste is very different from what Sakakibara had eaten in Tokyo. Aling didn't know that there was a buffet in the morning. When she heard this, she quickly went to help Tianhai's Higsu, who had not yet gotten up, get dressed, and took her to the Michelin-level restaurant on the 5th floor of the hotel. I think the breakfast made by my brother is more delicious. Suzu Sakakihara shook the black truffle in her hand. I don't understand what's so delicious about this thing. The level of the chef is just like this, just average. Tianhai Julie Yulai also felt strange. It's obviously a very good restaurant. Tianhai Kaimingyu, this is a buffet. It is definitely not as good as a regular meal. It's okay here, the taste is average to above average, but isn't it mainly about having something special, Raku Sakakibara said while eating his breakfast dumplings. The taste is quite different, like this takoyaki. It tastes more interesting from Osaka. Come on, Zayuki, eat a piece too. Thank you Suzu-chan. Hamaruyuki is still cute. Silly. Eat quickly, and continue setting off after eating. Around 9 o'clock. Several people came from the hotel to the parking lot where the motorcycles were parked. After riding together to the gas station out of the city, Nanami got on the back seat of Sakakibara Raku's motorcycle and took the last photo before leaving of Osaka Castle in the early morning setting. Raku Sakakihara noticed her taking pictures with a camera in the rearview mirror. Kyo seems to like taking pictures very much. Since the beginning of the trip, I have noticed that you have been recording our trip. Isn't it just to collect materials? Brother, when a long time has passed and you look at the old photos again, you will find that some memories you forgot in the corner have resurfaced. This kind of experience is difficult for people who have not kept records of the past to understand. Arrived. Sounds good. Raku Sakakihara put on the gloves that were placed on the gas tank of the car. So, do you feel happy about this unfinished journey? Not bad. Hearing her answer, Sakakibara laughed and put on his helmet and said, I have always felt that traveling with the most important people is the most meaningful thing in life, seeing different scenery together, we have eaten different delicacies together and witnessed many things we have never seen before during this trip. Only by walking through life like this can I feel that time has not been wasted. Tianhai Chi Minjiao, who was wearing a black helmet, put down the camera and said, Brother, it sounds like you have traveled alone. Sakakibara picked up the footrest of the motorcycle and held the handlebars and accelerator with both hands. He smiled and sighed inside the helmet. Yes, why not? It's still a lifetime. Brother. Ring. Get ready to go. Oh. Sakakibara raised a hand and responded to Amami Kuruori, who was holding Amami no Snow in front of her, while smiling and giving her a thumbs up. Sakakihara Suzu, who was dragging a lot of clothes in salute, also responded to her from behind. Open the electric valve, press the ignition button, and the motorcycle's engine begins to roar. If brother really feels desperate one day, remember to come to me with a bag of potato chips. Do what? Let him know that there is at least one person who remembers the kindness he has long forgotten. Idiot, you are desperate. How can you have money to buy potato chips? You are really an unworldly Miss July 2nd. Look, they have abandoned us both. Raku Sakakibara looked at Tianhaiju, who took the first step in front. Ruri and Sakakihara Suzu, who made faces at themselves, laughed. Then catch up. Okay, this is what you said in July. I said. Okay. In addition, in Kyoto, after getting along with Julie Yulai yesterday, I have become more and more uneasy about the things between us. What? As soon as the motorcycle was in gear, Raku Sakakihara said loudly to the girl behind him. Hold tight. Tianhai Kaimingyu hugged him from behind and wanted to ask what happened just now. What did you say? Let's go. Let's go. Rush to the last stop of the journey, Kyoto. Woohoo. Raku Sakakihara smiled and pulled the accelerator sharply. In a flash, the motorcycle drove into the city streets with endless traffic. As the spring breeze blew in February, the figures of the two people riding on the same motorcycle gradually disappeared. Far. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Bulletin 11 Huan Tio Yu Lan. Chapter 271. Kyoto, Kyoto, Kyoto. The hot engine returned to silence, and the thick rubber tires pressed against the bluestone bricks. Under a peacock cypress whose scale leaves were swaying gently in the wind, Sakakibara took his hands off the handles of the motorcycle and looked up at the stretch of stone slabs ahead. On the quaint streets, tourists walk here, wearing modern clothes and kimonos of different colors. Many women wearing silver necklaces with flowers on their heads, and foreign tourists with blonde hair and blue eyes hanging cameras on their chests, walked along the slopes lined with ancient buildings. This is King Miyuzaka, right? Raku Sakakihara took off his helmet and unscrewed the car key. Amami Nanami got up from the back seat of Sakakibara Raku's motorcycle and got off the ground. She opened the straps of her helmet and took off her helmet. Her long, flaxen hair full of sunshine immediately fell over her shoulders. We'll do it when we get to Kiyomizu Saka. Hurry up and shoot the footage, we have to produce the MV tonight. She put the helmet on the tail seat of the motorcycle and smoothed the messy hair around her ears with her right hand. Such actions are really endearing. Raku Sakakibara really likes Kyo's action of flipping her hair, but in Suzu Sakakibara's view, she is dissatisfied with this kind of woman who exudes her charm to the surroundings all the time. Cut. You want to ask why? The sun appears so brightly in front of us, how can it not be dazzling? And what's even more outrageous is that there are two more suns. But for some reason, Sakakihara Suzu suddenly felt that Nanamayu was not as annoying as before. When she was at Osaka Studio City, she even left a meal for herself. It doesn't seem that bad. Is she usually just teasing herself? No, no, a little fox is a little fox, and being hateful is a lifelong thing. Ahem, okay, everyone, please look over at me. Raku Sakakihara supported his waist with one hand and smiled at the girls who were looking at the shade of the trees above his head. Today is the third day of our winter vacation trip. Unexpectedly, after taking pictures and walking all the way and staying in Osaka for a day, we actually arrived in Kyoto half a day earlier than planned. You must know that we passed through Shinjuku, Tachikawa, Yamanashi Prefecture, Yamanashi City, and Shizuoka Prefecture. Brother, are you talking about your trip? Tianhaichi Minjio, who took out his camera to adjust it, interrupted him and looked over with a bright sky blue eye. Sakakihara Raku felt that Chi Minjio's eyes suddenly turned cold when she looked at him. Wasn't it normal when he set off? Sakakihara Suzu raised one hand and protested dissatisfied, that's right. Don't listen to these long talks of yours, brother. Just tell us what our goal is today. What, wouldn't it be interesting to have some tour guide summaries during the trip? Look at Ruri and Yuki, and they have been listening obediently. In short, Raku Sakakibara clenched his fist and said, today our purpose is to have fun. Have fun, then try to produce the MV within tomorrow. Oh. Isn't the MV finished tonight? Tianhai Kaimingyu frowned. Asterisk. Having established the goal of coming to Kyoto for this trip, the group of people walked on the most famous slope in Kyoto, King Mizuzaka, without stopping. This quaint street is the main thoroughfare for visiting Kiyomizu Temple. On both sides of the street are shops selling various Kyoto specialties and handicrafts, including Kiyomizuyaki ceramics, Yatsuhashi cakes, Kyoto confectionery, Kyoto tea confectionery, and Kyoto fans. There are many things that no one has seen in Tokyo. Past arts and crafts. Amami Nazuki, who had never traveled before, naturally became more curious when seeing these people. She kept asking, what is this and what is that? Sakaki Hararakuta patiently glanced at the introduction board and said, he explained to her in detail sentence by sentence, earning Zhigzyu's admiring gaze. Ellie, it's so amazing Tianhai's Zhigzyu often looks at the things she doesn't know and praises her heartily. Ha ha ha, just average. On the other side, Amami Nanamajetsu, who was taking pictures of Kyoto's specialty matcha cold drink, would glance at him with disgust when he smiled. The most popular things are actually all kinds of cute gadgets and handicrafts. Needless to say, there are dolls made of ceramics. This is an indispensable item in tourist attractions and shopping streets. I believe that many couples traveling around the world have been fooled by this item. Who can say no to a girlfriend's request that she thinks it's cute? Buy it, buy it, buy it if you like it. This is one of the rare situations where you can simply use money to gain favor. Sakaki Hararaku was very generous and chose a small ceramic doll of a few centimeters in size for everyone, which cost him nearly 6,000 yen. I'll give this little snow girl to you. Give me. Yes, I'll give it to you. It's a gift from you. After all, you and the snow girl both have the word Yuki in their names. I feel that you are as pure and beautiful as the woman in the snow, and you are also very quiet. I give it to you, all right, keep it. After Raku Sakaki Hara handed her the things, he turned around and went back to deal with Suzu, who was struggling with which ceramic figurine to choose. Thank you, Ellie. Tianhai's Zhigzyu's glassy eyes reflected the little ceramic figure of the snow girl that was half the size of a palm. She seemed to be thinking, but also in a daze, leaving others with no idea what this girl was thinking at the moment. When she was in a daze, Sakaki Hara suddenly turned to her and said, "It feels like you didn't talk much this trip, Yuki. Are you a little uncomfortable playing, or are you unhappy? Just be happy and happy. I'm asking you how you feel. Ellie, just be happy. I didn't ask you to break sentences to emphasize." Although she had expressed her meaning in very clear words, Zyuki still stared at Sakaki Bararaku with her clear eyes. Her eyes have always contained a magical power that makes people want to look away. They are flawless eyes that are so clear that they don't carry any unnecessary thoughts. His tone was still dull. "Brother, Chi-Chi and I want to go to the clothing store above to change our clothes." "Change clothes?" "Yukata." Raku Sakaki Hara looked at the two of them holding hands and wondered if the relationship between the two sisters had gotten so good. Even Chi-Chi still treated him coldly, acting like she didn't want to say a word to him. This makes Sakaki Hararaku feel strange. "Have I offended you?" Then go ahead and go." Watching the two of them walk up the slope, Sakaki Hararaku looked back at Sakakibara Suzu, who was still choosing which bunny pottery sculpture was cuter, and immediately sat down next to Amami Yuki. There is a wooden bench surrounded by flower pots and various exquisite and small potted plants. "Yuki. Are you calling me?" The girl looked at him. "Well, actually I've been paying attention to you these past few days. I feel like you have very little conversation with everyone. Why don't you speak again? I don't know what to tell you. When you were at school before, did you take the initiative to talk to other students?" Tianhai's Zhigzyu shook her head. "If she doesn't take the initiative to speak, isn't she just a half-autistic girl?" And for some reason, Sakaki Bararaku feels that 7 and 9 are deliberately neglecting Zyuki. They haven't said a few words to her in the past few days, and only a Ling will enthusiastically stick to Zyuki. Take her to buy food, go shopping, etc. But Sakaki Hara feels that Kiju is not that kind of person, even though they now know that Zyuki likes them. Alas, all in all, he still felt that Zhigzyu would inexplicably become the lonely one when there were many people. It feels like she can't have anything to say about everyone's topics. "Come on, come with me. I'll call a Ling up too." Sakaki Hararaku wanted to tell Zyuki to stand up, so he took the initiative to hold her hand. Her fingers were unimaginably slender, and there was a hint of coolness in the coldness. When he pulled her up, the force on his hand was stronger than he expected, and the feeling was quite clear. Happy. Didn't Kyo and Liuli go up there to change into their yukata just now? How about you go change into something too and have a look? Why? Isn't the most important thing about traveling a sense of participation? I don't want a 5-person trip to turn into a 4-person trip. Snow is also an important part. I told Chi and Ju in the past that they would take you to play together. Snow of things. Sakakibara pulled her hand and found that it didn't move very much, and suddenly saw that Amami Nazuki was in a daze under his words. He thought to himself that if he said these words, she might mistakenly think that he was attacking her, right? No, Zhigzhu probably doesn't understand the meaning of strategy. But there is no doubt that what he just said gave Zhigzhu a certain favor. Like music. Tianhai's Zhigzhu looked at him and suddenly said this. Look, sure enough. Assumption is correct. Sakaki Hararaku felt that he should have called Suzu to tell Zyuki about this just now. Zhigzhu, you must know that my love for you now comes mostly from care, and there is not much love in it. I'll feel better if I rub my breasts a few times at night. Sakakibara quickly blocked her mouth, pulled her away, and reminded her in a nerve-wracking way, Suzu is right next to her. Sakakibara Suzu was bargaining with the proprietress at a nearby store window with a small bag on her waist. You don't need to be surprised. It doesn't feel stable. Tianhai's Zhigzhu pulled away the hand that covered his mouth. No need for you to tell me. Are you worried that Zyuju and Zyuki will know about the breast rubbing? How could Sakakibara sense that Izuki was threatening him? Yuki, why did you suddenly say this? When Zyuki was resting at the second gas station, he asked me if I had ever been too close to my brother. Then what? I told Xiaoqi. No wonder Chi-Chi's attitude suddenly turned cold. Asterisk. Kaiming Yu, come and take a look at this one. This one suits you very well. Sister Chan needs to be called sister. I'm not shouting, sister. Compared to this, come and try this one. Zhigzhu feels particularly suitable. The girls' yukata are very beautiful. Although the antique photos taken have nothing to do with the music video, fortunately, just having a few of them in the lens is very eye-catching. It was Chi-Chi's gaze that stabbed Sakaki Hararaku intentionally or unintentionally, which often made him feel uncomfortable. A pavilion for soaking your feet, let's call it that. Sakaki Hararaku and several others sat around a wooden table and enjoyed the comfort of the hot spring foot bath. Aling, a good eater, suddenly suggested that she go buy some snacks, so she hurriedly pulled Zhigzhu out first, taking Liuli with her. Amami Nanamajetsu refused on the grounds of checking the filming materials, while Sakakibara Raku simply did not want to go. The moment the three people left, Sakakibara felt the second wave of pressure from July today. Brother, I really enjoyed the evening. Tianhai Kaimingyu closed the library book in her hand. The woods beside her were blown by the breeze. Her silhouette reflected the sunshine and green leaves. She even rolled up her trousers and went to the hot spring. The small toes exposed in the water looked so fresh and beautiful. Last night? Last night was okay. I heard that you said my chest smells good at night, right? How fragrant is it? What could he answer? The answer to anything is death. Tianhai Kaimingyu raised one cheek with interest to look at him opposite. The mottled tree shadow reflected in the gold-rimmed glasses was very clear. Brother, did you say, thank you for the hospitality? Yuki. I've been so good to you, and this is how you treat me. The sky-blue eyes under Tianhai Kaimingyu's gold-rimmed glasses seemed to understand his thoughts. Brother, can you blame my sister-in-law? You know she is not good at lying. A little trick can make her tell her in a roundabout way. Sure enough, in front of this old fox, Zhigzu is just a little yellow chicken, with a combat power equal to 0. Think I'm a fox? Sakakibara couldn't help it anymore. Do you have the ability to read minds in July? No, I remember I said it a long time ago. There are only a few of my brother's ideas. I just mentioned the one I think is most likely. It's not like I haven't failed before. Just tell me what you want me to do. I am willing to take responsibility for my actions. Come here and beat my legs. Dot. Humiliation. If you're a man, you can't. You still have to listen to your wife occasionally. Sakakibara smiled and sat across from her table, put her lifted white feet with some hot spring water on his legs, and started massaging acupoints. It has to be said that Chi-Chi's feet are soft to the touch, her skin has a cherry-colored luster, and her toes are round and waxy and cute, exuding the unique fragrance of a girl. Chi-Kyo seems to like to massage her feet by himself, and he has done so several times. Are you not angry anymore? Who said I was angry? You must be angry when you say this. I didn't know it at the time. I was asleep. What I dreamed about was you in July. This shows how much I like you in my heart. Stop flattering me. I care more about what you said this morning than this matter. Jump off the building? Don't worry, my words from you in July are enough. I'm talking about the problem you're worried about in our relationship. How do you plan to solve it? This is an important question. Sakakihara thought that she wouldn't care if he interrupted Kyo, but she didn't expect that she would never forget it for a day. Kyo, how is your relationship with Liuli now? With my sister, although it's a little worse than at the beginning, it's almost the same. After all, I rarely express my feelings for you in front of her these days. Sakakibara stared at her feet and said, then the agreement you made with Ruri before was useless. Almost. In this case, Chi-Chi is really giving in to Luli everywhere. She did not confess her relationship with Liuli to Liuli. Even when she was in front of Liuli, she would restrain her thoughts and actions, and even her words were just ordinary conversations. July has completely hidden itself in the shadows, unable to see any light. And this is the most uncomfortable thing for Kyo, a very arrogant girl. Why did my brother suddenly have this idea? Because my sister is so kind to you. Indeed, Sakakibara said seriously, not only did she not dislike me when she woke up this morning, she actually hugged me and said a lot of things to me. What words? You definitely don't want to hear the truth in Kyo, but you should know what feelings Liuli will confide to me. Sakakihara continued, actually, I learned a lot from this band this time, the feeling of a team, the feeling of working together, the feeling of wanting to lead everyone on the stage. Our first appearance was I didn't expect to become a small hit. Of course, this is also due to Aling and your original identity on the internet, as well as your creative skills. But there is no doubt that I have always wanted to change something through the band. I, myself, work hard to grow and lead you to go further. Responsible, right, Nanami you summed it up. She probably understood why Sakakibara Raku said what he said in the morning. His conscience was actually uneasy. Now I want to ask my brother why he suddenly took us going out for a motorcycle trip. Sakakibara smiled and said, travel. In July, there is nothing better than traveling to promote the relationship between everyone, right? Think about the day we spent in Osaka, the day we went shopping, went to the food court together, and went to worship together. Like gods, let's go to Universal Studios together and watch Osaka Castle in the evening in the afterglow of the sunset. When the photos fall into the camera, it is proof that we have had fun together. Chi-Chi, you see, although Aling is still playing around with you recently, isn't our relationship much closer? She even pulled you to change into a yukata just now. Brother, you really have good intentions. Of course, traveling is what I like, and it's very refreshing to drive on the highway for a moment. I want to become more self-reliant and responsible. July, do you understand what I mean? The library book in front of Tianhai Kaimingyu was opened by the wind, and the smell of ink blew from the pages. She sighed, I just hope that you, brother, will think about it carefully. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Buletin 11 Huan Tiu Lan. Chapter 272. Chapter 269. The end of the trip to Kyoto represents a new beginning of second-grade life. Journey to Kyoto end. When Aling, Juliulize Higsu and the others returned to the pavilion where they were soaking their feet with snacks, everyone gathered around, ate snacks and chatted for a while before continuing to move forward. The season for Sakakibara Raku's group to visit is early spring, February. In February, maple trees are in their budding stage, with leaves and flower buds just beginning to develop, and the entire tree just showing new buds. At this time of year, it's a pity that you can't see the maple leaves that dye the hills near Kiyomizu-dera Temple into fiery red. But if you think about it from another perspective, Kyoto in autumn is so crowded that it's hard to squeeze in, but Kyoto in early spring allows people to put on beautiful clothes. Isn't it a beautiful thing to walk leisurely on the streets of the ancient capital and fully feel the refreshing feeling brought by the early spring air? Everyone put on their yukata and walked up King Mizuzaka. In addition to the various shops on both sides of the road, there were also many tourists stopping to take photos on the street. Climbing up breathlessly, I finally saw the beautiful mountain gate that looks like a Torii omen. Come on, how about we all take a group photo? Thinking that the MV was based on the material, Sakakibara grabbed the camera from Nanamai Minjio and asked the girls to form a group or stand in front of Nia's gate to take photos one by one. The blue sky, the tall vermilion gate, and the simple stone steps. Wearing a plain yukata, Tenkai Nanamajetsu, and Tenkai Kuruori, wearing silver hairpins, stood under the majestic Neo gate, their figures dignified and elegant. Two girls, Suzu Sakakihara and Yuki Amamai, were wearing the same style of dark green yukata. One looked expressionlessly at the crows flying in the sky, while the other was holding the hand of a good friend and smiling brightly at the camera below the stone steps. A scissor hand comes. After taking several photos in a row, the Amamai sisters took a few more individual photos of Raku Sakakibara, and finally asked passers-by to help take a group photo before continuing the visit. Climbing up the stone steps and passing the main entrance, Raku Sakakihara was shocked by the exquisite structure inside the towering 5-story pagoda. Standing at the top of the tower and looking down at the Kyoto streets below, he had a panoramic view of the ancient streets that were originally in an upward state. The high scenery mixed with green leaves made Sakakibara couldn't help but admire it. Next is the main hall of Kiyomizu-dera Temple, which you can enter with a 400 yen entrance fee. While walking, Tianhai Kaimingyu also popularized science knowledge for everyone. Kiyomizu-dera Temple has a history of thousands of years, but in fact Kiyomizu-dera Temple is often damaged by fires, so the buildings we see now are all rebuilt during the Tokugawa Iemitsu period at the beginning of the Edo period. What is the relationship between the Tokugawa Ieyasu whom I often hear about and this Iemitsu? Suzu Sakakihara asked. Sister Chan, how did you pass the Japanese history test this semester? Humph. You don't need to ask about this. Anyway, I may still be assigned to class 1, after all, I have the blessing of art points. Ieyasu is Iemitsu's grandfather. Although the two are separated by a generation, Tokugawa Iemitsu's contribution to history is equal to that of Ieyasu. During his reign, the prestige of the Tokugawa shogunate reached its peak. Ieyasu and Iemitsu both it was only in the hands of human beings that the Tokugawa system was established. Under the endless popularization of science in July Encyclopedia, Several people came to the side hall of Kiyomizu Temple. Raku Sakakihara was suddenly asked by Tenkai Nanami to worship in the dark Buddhist hall, and by the way, he touched the iron shoes and shoes inside that were for tourists to touch. A tin stick or something. Why do you ask for this? I don't need to ask for marriage or anything. This is the birth of Mahakala to pray for career. Chi-Chi is really thoughtful. Then there is the main god worshipped by Qing Shui, the thousand-armed Guanyin with 11 faces. Sakakihara looked up and saw behind the dark and huge wooden pillars, and then he realized what the solemnity of the Dharma was. Tianhaijuli Yulai looked up and couldn't help but admire. I heard that generally you can't see the thousand-armed Avalakai Tesvara when you come to Kiyomizu Temple. It is only open to tourists every 23 years. Sakakibara Suzu pulled Amami Nazuki and said excitedly, then aren't we super lucky? Is such that religion requires belief, and it uses all the means to decorate it with sophistication and luxury, so that people who have never seen it can be deeply shocked. Tianhai Kaimingyu was very interested in these things, and then added, expressing her own point of view. But regardless of whether you believe in religion or not, these gorgeous historical artworks are a part of culture, a part of spirit for mankind, and they are also precious historical assets. I didn't expect July to be so serious here. I've always been like this. But brother, why do you always want to come to Kyoto? Sakakibara put down the camera on his chest and said with a smile, how can I say that I have never had time to travel alone before? What I was thinking about was traveling. I wanted to change the environment, and I had to come to Kyoto. One trip. Although traveling here is also one of my goals. Moving forward, there is the Kiyomizudera stage that I have seen the most on the internet. It is built next to the cliff and is supported by 139 giant trees, which is 4 stories high. This is the most popular attraction of Kiyomizu Temple. In addition to tourists who come here to take photos, you can also see many student couples visiting here. Brother, come and take pictures here. I know. Raku Sakakibara walked to Suzu Sakakibara, who was holding the guardrail with her hands. The mountain wind blew the hair on Sakakibara's forehead, and he looked under the blue sky. From here, he could overlook the mountains covered with maple trees and the streetscape of Kyoto City. The red triple tower is on the left side of the line of sight. Full of condescending pleasure. Right now there are ancient temple streets, and in the distance there are modern cities with tall buildings. With 2 different styles appearing in the scene at the same time, Sakakibara finally understands why this place is so popular. The scenery here is completely different from Tokyo. Amami Kuriyuri held Sakakihara Raku's hand. It's very different. I also understand Liulai's mood. Compared with the bustling metropolitan streets every day, the surrounding area is much quieter, right? Yeah. I feel a lot better once I come out every once in a while. I see different scenery and experience different scenery. Tianhai Kaimingyu interjected faintly, I used to drag my sister out, but she didn't even dare. Why is this? Sakakihara asked. It's not like my sister has to listen to her mother and practice piano. Now, she only listens to her brother. Amami Nanamijetsu's words seemed to be said to the 2 of them deliberately, and Sakakibara Raku couldn't tell for a while whether she was jealous or not. This trip to Kiyomizu Temple and Otoa Mountain in Kyoto went quite smoothly and peacefully. Except for Suzu, who would shout loudly when she saw some novel and shocking scenes, the overall atmosphere was cheerful and harmonious. After going down the mountain, several people went to a hot spring hotel to rest. At this time, it is very close to the time to release the MV to fans on the internet as promised. Sakakihara turned on the computer and checked all the materials accumulated in the past few days from motorcycle riding, Osaka trips, and Kyoto mountain climbing. The 5 people gathered in front of a computer for a heated discussion, and each put forward their own opinions based on the requirements of the MV and the overall atmosphere of the song. There are a total of more than 10 hours of various material videos, and hundreds of photos and group photos of the 5 members of the band. There is a meet-up at Tokyo Station. There is picnic camping at the foot of Mount Fuji in Shizuoka Prefecture. When a fish was inserted into the river, the 2 people on the bank shouted cheers to Sakakibara, and how happy he was when he inserted the fish. There are special advertisements, special food streets, and special sunset night views seen in Osaka Castle. And the final point of today's journey is a mountain climbing trip at Kiyomizu Temple in Kyoto. The MV starts with the meeting of 5 strangers, telling a story about how everyone bid farewell to their worries, teamed up with each other to travel, and each gained something from the journey. This video, which is only 5 minutes long, was discussed and edited for several hours. The small dining table on the tatami was already piled with eating plates. Amami Nazuki fell down beside the table, and Sakakihara Suzu was trapped directly. Dita lay on the floor. Only Tenkai Kuruori and Tenkai Nanamajetsu were still surrounding Sakakibara Raku, watching his operations and giving opinions. However, the fact is that it was not until noon the next day that Sakakihara finished editing the first version after sleeping for 3 hours. Under the sunshine near noon, he sent the band's instructions to Ms. Yoshihara's email. 5 minutes later, Sakakibara received her reply. "You guys are just cutting out the film now, did you record this material recently? I went on a trip and rode all the way from Tokyo to Kyoto, so I accumulated materials for the MV. Not bad, it's quite romantic, riding a motorcycle, going from Tokyo to Kyoto sounds cool enough, although the current editing is still a bit rough. I can see that your MV has a youthful flavor." Sakakihara laughed at the phone screen. "Oh, are you seniors also looking forward to the day when the MV is released? Haha, Zyal, you even teased your senior. Let's not talk about whether I am looking forward to it or not, but the group of people on the internet have been waiting for you. The video under the official Zeppo Tokyo account has exceeded 10 million views. You have seen it before, that Uncle Band, they were originally. It is a very popular band in recent years, and the new song it released this time even topped the Japanese Oricon chart, although it is expected, it is somewhat exaggerated during this time period. Guess why I say this? Our new band also benefited from it." Raku Sakakihara typed on the phone keyboard and clicked the send button. "Yes, that's right, you guys are in luck too, since you debuted on Zeppo's underground stage for the first time, coupled with the elements of high school students, beautiful girls, twins, and 3 no guitarists. Too many people on the internet are curious about you. When I checked, there were endless topics like popular voice actors, twin girls from a well-known classical music family coming to pop music, and so on. Some people actually found out about my relationship with you and came over to ask what your band was all about. It must have become so sudden." Fire. Sakakibara Raku didn't have the advocacy of Senshin Yoshiwara Senpai. In fact, according to the current level of discussion on the internet, the songs they wrote based on the selling point of beautiful girls and Kiju's good music skills became a small hit. Plus the factor of performing on the same day as that uncle's band, so the discussion is still a little hot. Yoshihara now. When do you plan to come back? For a new band, they need to strike while the iron is hot and perform more shows, or in other words, write more songs. I plan to go back tomorrow. Okay, come on, how did you come up with your band slogan, Runto, come into your heart? Yoshihara Senpai, our band has no slogan at all. Ha ha ha, keep up the good work. As for your MV, it has actually taken shape. You can send me your account number and video materials, and I will find an acquaintance to take a look at it for you. I will send it to you before tonight. Thank you, Yoshihara Senpai. No big deal. After clicking and sending the band's Twitter account password and previously shot video materials to Yoshihara Senpai via email, Sakakihara breathed a sigh of relief. He stretched out in the early morning light and glanced at the 4 people sleeping together on 4 beds in the room. 7 and 9 are separated by some distance, and their sleeping positions are harmonious and stable. Suzu Sakakihara was directly with Yuki. Suzu's legs were placed on Yuki Amami's body, trapping her under her legs, making her look very messy. Sakakibara took his right hand away from the mouse, supported the small wooden table with both hands, and propped up his numb legs. He moved to the hotel's barrier door and stretched out his hand to pull it open. Whoosh! The sun shines through the shade of the trees. Sakakihara subconsciously covered his narrowed eyes with his hand, and then put his hand down after he got used to it a little. The breeze blew slowly through the green peacock cypress. The sunlight falling between the branches and leaves also swayed slightly with the wind. Under the hotel on the second floor are the streets of the ancient capital where tourists flow. After taking a breath of fresh air, Sakakibara turned around to look at the sleeping people and said with a smile, "It seems that this trip to Kyoto went quite smoothly." At night, Yoshihara-senpai sent a message saying that the MV had been officially uploaded, and Sakakihara Raku was already organizing everyone to pack their luggage and prepare to fly back to Tokyo. The motorcycle will be checked in and sent back by air. Not short of money anyway. In the early morning of the last day after packing his things, Sakakibara received a message from the system that the task of reaching 1 million views of the new song had been completed. 50 million yen in funds and finance level 4, master, have been distributed. Even Suzu Sakakibara took her mobile phone and said to Raku Sakakibara in surprise, "Our video has 1 million views so quickly, it really surprised me." Inside the cabin before the plane takes off. July. How? From now on, I will work harder than before. Are you enlightened? That's right. Then what you told me yesterday afternoon. I have my own considerations. Humph, it seems you have listened to my suggestion. July, it's just that I suddenly feel that I am not qualified to say that now. Tianhai Kaimingyu stopped looking at him and closed her eyes to rest, just understand. In this way, the trip to Kyoto for several people officially ended amidst the roar of the plane taking off. However, the trip to Kyoto is over. But the few people who returned to Tokyo didn't have much leisure time. The band needs to keep practicing, keep running, keep performing, and keep making new music. The busy group of people ushered in the last semester of their first year of high school. As they performed more and more band activities and performances during the last semester of their first year, the status of the 5 people who were already famous in the school increased even more. Tianhai Kaimingyu is still the same, no one dares to talk to her, but the title of cold drummer has been added to the name of the noble lady. Tianhai Julie Yulai, who has always been kind to others, will be asked by some classmates every day why she suddenly joined the band. Sakakihara Suzu happily and elegantly enjoys everyone's admiration, and is continued to be called an angel voice actress and angel lead singer. And Tianhai's Higsu, well, Tianhai's Higsu is not very good at talking to people. Some bold classmates tried to ask her for a while in the early stage, but they were confused by her state of being in a daze after saying 2 sentences, and they didn't know what to say. Good. The eldest lady who is not easy to talk to, this is the special positions Higsu occupies in the school. And as the last semester of the first grade passed quietly, Raku Sakakihara's performance was particularly outstanding. He was discussed by a group of male classmates and was secretly pushed to the top of the so-called Minged home school. People often secretly say that they are surrounded by shining beautiful girls all the time and that campus life is extremely fulfilling. In the 2 months of this last semester, he has been ranked among the top 3 in the school in mathematics, ancient literature, world history, chemistry, and all cultural subjects, and the first in the school in physical education. At this level, he often attends the band perform and maintain high-intensity music practice every day. Led the Runto band on stage 16 times and composed 8 new songs. The band's fame is getting higher and higher on the internet, and the number of fans has increased from tens of thousands at the beginning to millions. If someone asks about the band Runto at Minged Elementary School, the 5 members who have the highest social status in the school will definitely come to mind. Even the principal and the board of directors specially awarded them a cultural award. Thousands of students in the school watched with their own eyes as Raku Sakakihara led the 4 girls into the college lecture hall. As the band leader and an outstanding student in the school, he received the award from the principal. Receive an honor that symbolizes recognition and fame. There were occasional discordant whispers under the podium. Is that the top cashier in the school? SHH. Keep your voice down. Don't you know that many girls in the school are his fans? Just be careful of gossips and just applaud. Yeah. The boy quickly blocked his mouth, and as Sakakibara finished his speech of thanks, he raised his hands in front of his chest along with the wave of applause. Thank you. Sakakibara bent down and stood up. Principal Tachibana Kiyohara slowly approached. He stopped, stretched out his hand, smiled at Raku Sakakibara and the girls behind him, and said, "Come on, Sakakibara-san, let's take a photo with everyone in front of the podium. This is also a very important moment." In this way, Sakakibara Raku finished his speech of thanks alone, holding the trophy in his hand, and led 4 girls with different personalities, Amamai Kuruori, Amamai Nanamajetsu, Amamai Wayuki, and Sakakibara Suzu, who were all dressed in college uniforms, in the lecture hall. Under the gaze of thousands of students and endless applause, a historic photo was taken with the principal, drawing the curtain on the life of the first grade of high school. Time, quietly arrived 2 months after the trip to Kyoto. Mingtoku Junior High School is located in the new school year that starts on April 1 every year, when the cherry blossoms bloom in early spring. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Buletin 11 Huan Tio Yu Lan. Chapter 273. A sneeze. The cherry blossoms flying lightly in the sky, the soft sunshine of April spring, the brand new campus uniforms for the new school year, the welcoming slogans on the ginkgo slopes, and the ancient aria-like bells emanating from the campus teaching buildings are very lyrical. The breeze slowly blew the green ginkgo trees on both sides of the slope. The sunlight falling on the ground swayed slightly along with the mottled leaves. Raku Sakakihara pulled the crisp white shirt around his neck, smoothed the button cuffs of his black Western-style school uniform, pulled up the shoulder strap of his backpack with one hand, and walked towards Ginkgo Sakamichi under the curious gazes of his junior students. Step by step, I tapped the so-called youthful steps on the ground. When he appeared in the sight of many students, there was no doubt that he immediately became the central figure in the Ginkgo Sakamaki. Sakakibara ignored all the glances directed at him and continued walking straight to the end of the ginkgo tree, heading towards the gate with Adenoka Private High School written on it. As a quasi-first-year freshman Kazugai, who had finally entered this noble high school, she naturally noticed everyone looking at her. Kazuga Megami couldn't help but be curious. Why does everyone go to see him? Kazugai looked around and soon discovered that she was not the only one in the crowd of students who was confused. The first-year students, or rather the first-year students wearing white lilies on their chests, all had the same doubts in their eyes as she did. She couldn't help but curiously ask the second-year senior Takaguchi who was leading the team. Takaguchi-senpai, Takaguchi-senpai, who is that? Why are everyone looking at him? Do you know Takaguchi-senpai? Takaguchi Hana looked at the figure walking towards the school gate and said in a relaxed tone, "Oh, of course I know him. Sakakihara-san, who is in class 4, is now a second-year student like me. Why do you feel that senior is a little afraid of him? He has a very fierce personality," Kazuga asked cautiously. "I'm not afraid of him, but I'm sighing. His presence has been so conspicuous in the past 2 months. It's hard not to see him." Takaguchi Hana smiled at the back. "Kazuga-san, maybe you think that isn't Sakakibara-san handsome? Do you like him? It's love at first sight. Ah. Isn't this right?" Kazugi pulled the handbag in front of her knees and shook her head quickly. She also curiously glanced at Sakakibara Raku's retreating back, although I feel that Sakakibara-san's appearance is particularly good, but I'm not the kind of person who falls in love with someone just because of their appearance. It sounds like Kasuga-san is very confident in herself. Well, yes, I worked hard to get into Mingde Elementary School from an ordinary high school. My current goal is to enter a higher school. I work hard to get into a good university. What about Kasuga-san's youth that has just begun? You don't want to fall in love anymore. Senior youth is about more than just falling in love, and it seems like you haven't been in a relationship yet, right? Are you still single? What have you been doing this year? Okay, I won't talk to you about this anymore. Confidence is a good thing. As for Sakakibara-san, you will come into contact with him sooner or later in school. Huh? Why is that? Isn't there a proverb the world always revolves around the center? For the earth, the center is the sun. For the Mingde school at this stage, well, I don't need to say more, right? Asterisk. Knock, knock, knock. The footsteps hit the ground, the blue sky, the early spring sun, the black hair and skirts of the girls swaying in the wind. In this cherry-colored season where even the side faces are dyed pink, Sakakibara walks into the campus, as happy as a traveler embarking on a new journey. Good morning, Sakakibara-san. Well, good morning. Good morning, Sakakibara-san. Do you want to go over to the notice board? The people from the student union are already here, so it's just appropriate to go over now. Okay, thanks for reminding me. Except for some friendly discussion. Conversations about himself continued behind him. In fact, Sakakibara Raku had become accustomed to discussions about him in the past 2 months. To be honest, the word he heard most in the past 2 months was the word center. The center of campus, the center of high school students, the center of current affairs, the center of women. These rumors and gossips range from praise to disparagement, and jealousy is not uncommon. There is a saying that goes like this: people are afraid of being famous and pigs are afraid of getting fat. What it means is that if a pig gets fat, it will be taken for surgery. Although it is not an exaggeration to operate, after the school showed its strength with all its strength, some emotions about dissatisfaction and unhappiness still came one after another. Sakakibara Raku has solved a lot of troubles in the past 2 months. The reason is that Sakakibara's outstanding performance threatens their status in the school. It threatens the high status that was originally at the top of the so-called cash deposit group. Some of them are particularly outstanding in certain achievements, and some of them are young men from rich and powerful families. They are pursued and admired by many girls, and they are fawned over and pursued because of their status. And Raku Sakakibara, who originally didn't like to express himself, suddenly appeared and stole their limelight. If it is an eyesore or too brilliant, it will naturally lead to more troubles. Brother! Brother! As you can see, another trouble is coming. The voice echoed behind my ears, and the girl who suddenly appeared holding a mobile phone was named Sakakibara Suzu. Ah, she is my biological sister, Sakakibara Raku. According to her character, she is indeed a big trouble. She stood beside her, her short hair with a hint of green at the end floating on her shoulders, and her body exuded a girly fragrance like summer lavender. Sakakibara planned to speak to her as a brother. Aling, I won't say it anymore. Don't be in such a hurry outside. Besides, where is the angelic image you maintain outside? Sakakibara Suzu was a little unhappy with the tone of his education. What the hell? It's not like you don't know that I'm being followed. The news clearly stated the 4 words personal character collapse. It seems like something like this happened. Don't tell me and forget about it. Sakakibara Suzu clenched her fists in front of him, looking fierce and fierce. No, of course I haven't forgotten it. The time was probably a month ago. In short, A Ling was followed by a fan and used the camera to discover an unknown secret of everyone on the internet. The idol voice actress, Suzu-chan, is completely different in private life and off-screen. There are a lot of articles that could be written here, but since the person who took the photo simply loves Sakakihara Suzu and does not intend to smear her, everyone on the internet is more consistent with one point of view. Suzu-chan has another side. To summarize a little bit, this incident did not have any impact on Aling's life and acting career. On the contrary, everyone was attracted by her foodie personality. Everyone felt that the gentle and quiet Suzu-chan endured too much and worked too hard off the screen, so she couldn't help but let herself go. He looked like he was eating a lot of snacks. Underneath the dignified and quiet angelic face is a big foodie who doesn't care about appearance or appearance. What is this called? This is called contrasting cuteness. On the contrary, everyone liked her more. Therefore, Aling doesn't act so restrained outside now, and she looks like a sunny and cheerful girl. She has a cheerful and positive personality, and her face is extremely cute. To use a comment from an online fan, it is, when she smiles, she is so cute that the whole world will be addicted to it. In addition to her foodie attributes, she is also a voice actress, guitarist, and lead vocalist, and is completely capable. She is an artistic and sunny girl who is so dazzling that countless boys like and pursue her. Just by standing with her, many boys walking on campus cast envious glances. Sakakihara recognized her talent and skills in vocal music, but if she was an artistic girl, he, the older brother, would be the first to object. So, Aling, what are you doing here in such a hurry? Suzu Sakakihara took out her mobile phone. Look at this, someone is scolding you on the forum again. Sakakibara just glanced at the smartphone screen that his sister handed him. It's normal. If you don't scold me, I feel weird. It's just that this time's comment is a little weird. You're a scumbag with 3 legs, man? The young lady's top male servant? Aling, do you need to show it to me? At first glance, it's just a rumor spread by those guys, it's completely unbelievable. Humph, I always thought it was disgusting that these guys slandered you for no reason. Sakakibara knew what his sister meant. He smiled and said, now Suzu, do you suddenly feel that it is right? Okay, I admit, it's a little bit. Sakakihara Suzu put her hands on her waist beside him and raised her chin. Lovely in a proud state. Sakakibara smiled at his younger sister who still had a bad ass, and continued walking looking forward. Suzu, don't you think your brother is very good? Not only his appearance, but also his physical ability in sports is unmatched, even he is always ranked among the top 3 in the school in cultural courses, and has never been surpassed by anyone. Not only that, he is also very gentle and considerate. He not only knows how to cook and play bass, he also treats everyone in the family equally, and is always responsive to classmates' requests and help. Omit. After all that, it's just a central air conditioner. Okay, I don't want to listen to you praising yourself, brother. Let's go and see the class list. Asterisk. I walked through the campus playground with my sister and walked to the teaching building with a large clock. Looking over, I could see several students from the student union maintaining order on the scene. Another person used scotch tape to paste the class list on the notice section. Don't worry, everyone, don't worry, please wait where you are, the form will be posted soon. Sakakihara Suzu stood on tiptoe behind the crowd and looked left and right, but she could only see a bunch of dark heads surrounding the front. Why are there so many people here? I can't see inside at all. It's normal. Raku Sakakihara looked at the young students standing on stools and posting notices and said to his sister beside him, didn't you also want to see the class list when you first came to school? No, brother, are you going to miss me again this time? Want to be in the same class as your brother? Humph, I don't mean to think about it, but except for the first year of high school, we have been in the same class since childhood. I was not used to the different classes before. Proud. Ailing, you don't have to worry about this. The strategy our school has always adopted is to try not to change students' original circles. After all, the separation of familiar people caused by reclassification will also affect the learning progress. Most people come here, the purpose of the school is actually to further your education, and the school takes this into consideration. Did you tell your uncle, principal, secretly? How could it be? I'm not the kind of person who abuses class power. Don't forget that we are both from the bottom of society, who collected the coins from the bottom of the pickpocket to make a living. The truth that I firmly believe is that we should never forget each other even if we are rich. Even if we are in a high position, I will also always save those in need and strive to make the name Sakakibara Raku the best. Sakakihara Suzu felt uncomfortable with his natural self-confidence, and it feels like you are speaking out of breath, brother, and your whole body is filled with a smell that cannot be concealed. What is the taste? The rancid smell of publicity. I'm going to be unhappy if you say that. Of course I'm joking, but to be honest, I feel like you've changed a lot in the past 2 months. Where does it manifest specifically? Sakakihara Suzu thought about it. I can't think of it. Then what did you say? Sakakihara Raku slashed his sister's head with a knife. The front suddenly became lively. Hey, the third grade list is out, Shizuoka, have you seen your name? Never be assigned to teacher Nagasaki's class. Never be assigned to teacher Nagasaki's class. I don't want to spend the last year of my high school career in purgatory. Is it that exaggerated? Teacher Nagasaki is super fierce, isn't he? The old professor from Tokyo University usually has a straight face. If you don't bring your homework to school, he will punish you by standing at the door for half the class. When you pass by him, your body will subconsciously shiver. But the class led by teacher Nagasaki has the highest focus rate. No then. Can I share it with the 3 eldest ladies of the Tianhai family? What are you dreaming about? I didn't know that they are all the harem of the scumbag Sakakihara. You know dash. SHH, SHH. You too. Didn't you see the scumbag standing behind you? Scumbag. Are you discussing bro again? Even though the sound of some discussions was muted in the end, Sakakihara Suzu still heard these words. She couldn't help but look up at the side of her brother's face, stretched out her fingers to poke the flesh of his waist, and asked in a low voice, Hey, are you okay? Huh, Raku Sakakihara looked back from the 3rd grade list, but it was still hard to see clearly from this distance. You must have heard those who called you a scumbag just now. Yes, Sakakibara didn't take it seriously and waited for the students in the student union to put up the 2nd year list notice. Don't you think they are going too far? Why are they talking about you everywhere? Aling, it's cold at high places. How can you maintain your current status if you can't stand the cold at high places? This little thing is nothing. I don't need to forcefully change all the people who hate me. It's a waste to argue with them. Time. You have to understand that once a person rises to prominence, opposition will naturally come. Didn't you see that our band was ridiculed by some people on the internet as a kid band? Anyway, if it were me, I would yell back at you in this situation. Aling had actually done this before. Every time she held her cell phone, she would get scolded by the netizens, and her fingers would tap on the screen at a rattling speed. Yeah, it fits her character quite well. Raku Sakakibara, it seems that the notice sheet for the 2nd year liberal arts class has been posted. The crowd in front immediately started to gather again, and students in school uniforms surrounded the bulletin board. Let me see, let me see. Nakai, Chimi, and Cheng are so great. Everyone is together. Is there anyone in the same class as Sakakibara-kun? Tomoe, are you there? No, I'm in class 3. That's a shame. Kai, what class do you think Sakakibara-kun will be assigned to? Sakakibara-kun is so good, he must be a current member. Haha, please don't use that name, it's too weird. Sakakibara couldn't help but laugh when he heard a few more girls discussing him. Because he also noticed that the expressions of several boys became darker. They turned away and seemed to be muttering disdainfully in their hearts, why can I hear people everywhere saying that this guy Sakakibara is so good now? Hey, a few years ago you and I were comrades of the same class. Why is it so belittled now? After waiting for about 10 minutes, the crowd dispersed, and the students who had just entered the second grade gathered together in twos and threes to discuss the assignment of classes. Most of the discussions are about how the teacher is, how the teacher feels, whether the teacher is beautiful, whether the teacher is a handsome young man, do you know what the teacher's personality is like, and other worries unique to high school students. These worries are also deserved. Because moving into a higher grade class means that the interpersonal relationships built in the first grade are likely to be broken and disrupted. Starting from scratch, some people will also fall into a state of self-doubt because they failed to enter the top class. But there is no doubt that among the classes assigned to the liberal arts and sciences, Class 1 of the second grade is the most eye-catching junior high school class. The top level of the school, the top level of social life, the top level that represents the power behind the students, are all gathered in this class. This may be a bit exaggerated. But the school itself is a tiny microcosm of society, and class has never disappeared from people's growth from beginning to end. At least, when faced with an outstanding poor student who studied hard from a humble background and a young lady from Jailing whose family has a net worth of hundreds of millions, who has equally excellent academic performance and is thousands of times more beautiful in appearance, it is obvious who will everyone take a second look at. Things. And under the list of Class 1, Year 2, which many students are most concerned about, the names Tianhai Juli Yulai and Tianhai Kaimingyu are ranked first and second as expected. Many students who saw these two names couldn't help but picture the two girls who appeared in the student union, lecture hall, stage, and literature department in their minds. She has long, soft flaxen hair, delicate appearance, overwhelming ladylike aura, and a slim figure that embodies the dreams of all high school boys. They don't need any pretense or pretense. They just step forward, hold school documents, and read out solemn lines under the attention of thousands of people. Everyone will naturally accept that they are the top of this school. Two girls at the top. Above, at least in Sakaki Hararaku's impression, this is how their classmates evaluated them. Brother, we seem to be in the same class, and Yuki is here too. Why are the two foxes here? Suzu Sakakibara's expression suddenly turned disgusting. It's strange that they are not in the same class. It's been 2 months, why are you still so vindictive?